campers, welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. It's cold out there today. It's cold out there every day. That's right. Because it's the day before Groundhog's Day.
That's tomorrow. God.
It is. Yes. Yes, indeed. You know what you should do? You should record the news today, and then tomorrow for your family, play the news from today and really mess with their heads.
Sounds good.
So
I like Easter.
Groundhog Day.
And I like Easter when Jesus comes out of the cave, and if he sees his shadow, it's another year of pestilence.
So yes, welcome everybody to the program. Andre is not with us this morning. I apologize up front.
Where is fearless leader?
My apologies are out back. So,
Lord. So with that, welcome to the show. I am here today as the main host, but also joining me back again at home is the one, the only Mexican Ironman. How does it feel to be home, my friend?
Arriba, andale. It is good to be back home again. I got the Mexican taco signal was there it is. I look that is a real life accurate shot. I went outside in the dusk. I looked up in the sky and there was a taco signal that was showed up in the air from Andre and Tom that Andre was not going to be here today. So I got drafted in. So the rabbit chickens and the suitcases are here, ready to provide assistance and to keep this Paul Chato guy in check, because there have been many disturbing things that Paul Chato has said over the last month, and I am here to clear the air. And we'll do that during the course of the show.
I want to know what they are.
I've been keeping a list.
As long as none of them are Tom, you look amazing in a dress, then I think I'm good.
Tom, you look amazing in a dress.
No.
Well,
Tom, can I just tell you that me and Bambino had breakfast, and we both had, Bambino had half of a toasted bagel from his R2D2 toaster, and I had a full bagel with cream cheese, and I had apricot jelly this morning.
You
show off your toaster.
You are cultural appropriation there.
Yeah.
Leave our Jewish things alone, you Mexican.
Adding that to the list right now, number 17.
But wait, I thought you were saying he was pulling away from droid culture there. He was stealing droid culture.
No, he had a bagel. How dare you?
Yeah, but he used an R2D2 toaster.
This was Mikey's Christmas present.
Oh my! Wow! Holy! You
see,
3
it's
weeks.
And it works.
Yeah, but 3 weeks later, then
no, he sent it on everybody on Twitter. He sent it on time.
Yeah, I forgot. I always forgot he goes out to California for the Christmas time.
It was here like on the 20th, but I literally got a plane the day before it showed up. Literally, so it's that.
Wow.
And thank God they keep all my stuff in the HOA at the front office, because it would have been rained on.
That's an amazing gift.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. Like. It's so much fun. All right, let's go on with the show.
Yes, also joining us this morning, of course, is Culture Casino. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm glad we have a real live professional YouTuber joining us again in Mexican Ironman. His presence has been missed. And being such the consummate pro, this show is going to be rather polished in comparison to its normal presentation. So I'm excited about that.
Not a freaking YouTuber.
I'm sorry, did I just see a short from your channel, Mike?
That's right. He's got a point.
Oh, okay.
You officially have more shorts, Mike, than Midnight's Edge does.
That doesn't mean anything.
That means you're a YouTuber.
Yeah,
Speaking of YouTubers, we have one of the biggest growing YouTubers on the channel today, Mr. Paul Chato. How you doing? Have you hit that 100,000 yet?
Extremely good. I don't do shorts. Every once in a while I do, but yes.
Well, we're waiting for you to hit that 100,000 so you don't show up anymore because you have no time for us little people.
Yes, I did threaten, saying that as soon as I hit 100,000, I'm done with you peons. No, I'll never be done.
Wait, what?
I've been saying this for weeks.
Yeah,
the golden shower thing I'm not interested in, but
not peon.
Oh.
Peons. P-E-O-N-S.
That's what I thought I heard. I heard peon.
Me too.
Why did you get so excited, Mike?
Well, no, Mexican Ironman does not like water sports like that.
Mike meant water skiing and surfing. And
yeah, he did.
Like
Sure.
He didn't. I don't believe you.
Wow.
So yeah, it's nice to be here, gentlemen. And
Yes.
clearly this is going to be a crazy show.
Well, there's nothing to talk about, so the show's over, folks. Take care of yourselves and each
Yeah,
other.
we can ignore the big piece of news.
There's nothing to discuss here today.
No. There is no big news to talk about today.
Let's see what the audience is talking about.
Yeah.
The Walt Man is here, and he says what is the DC Slate? What the DC Slate needs is more cowbell, more Tim Capello, aka the Lost Boys saxophone guy. I can't argue with that.
That guy died.
No, he's still alive.
Are you
He's
sure?
got a Facebook. Yeah, he's got a Facebook page. Ryan Bannon says, no, he's still alive. Idea for Scooby-Doo spinoff. Instead of them being teens, says Ryan Bannon, they're old, grumpy as fuck, living in mystery retirement home. They solve crimes while dealing with wacky SJW Zoomer crap. Actually, this sounds more interesting than Velma.
Pretty good. I like it.
Actually, that sounds like a story I'm working on that's based on the Villages, where they solve mysteries in the villages in Florida. Yeah. No, that went over everybody's head. Awesome.
So you're doing Murder in the Building in Florida?
No, man, I'm gonna have that show promote loofahs and loofah life. So it'll be good.
Murder in the old age home.
Yeah, there you go. Mario Trillo says, "Oh, Tom, you think DC Warner Brothers having Damian as Robin means he's the fourth? They're going the brave and bold route. They could be skipping the other three." Well, we're going to get into that this morning, so hang on to that.
Speaking of that, I thought Gunn had said it's going to be the Damon Wayans Robin.
I know. I was very disappointed. I was hoping for some Damon Wayans,
and I thought, wow, that's going to be pretty cool, the Damon Wayans Robin. But no,
maybe he could play handyman.
What bothers me is it sounds like a terrible soap opera that we're about to get.
I know. I guess we'll be talking about that. Yeah, the Pride and the Bold, yes, or whatever.
Brand the Bold.
The bold and the bearded. I don't know. Yeah.
A bearded lady? What?
Hey, I knew the tattooed lady. Lydia.
Have you seen Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady.
There you go.
Great song.
Oh my God, you guys are
back when they used to be able to have lyrics.
Well, I mean, and who can forget? I like to go swimming with bow-legged women and swim between their legs.
We just lost half of our audience, guys. No,
and then we have a Dirty Calypso album that my parents used to play at parties. The one not so dirty lyric was, "I kiss her hand, I kiss her feet, and I left her behind for you." That's one of the safer lyrics. I used to go downstairs when I was like 5 years old and listen to the album.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was like, suddenly I feel so young.
No, yep.
Oh yes, Blank Man was good too. Yes, Damon Wayans.
Calypso, Too Hot to Handle. That's the name of the album.
History will always remember Bad Robot ruined everything. Says rejoice as Alex Kurtzman is gone and unemployed. Well. That may be, but I don't know about that. Is he
from Paramount also?
I don't know. He's Schrodinger's Kurtzman right now. John Apocalypse has been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much. Then Dr. Long Dongler sent us a super sticker. It is a thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do. Then we got Malachi D. Wildman here who says, I apologize if this has already been discussed. Gunn is already setting himself up for critical comparison to the phase titled Gods and Monsters. That was the title of a good 2015 DC animated film. I get what you're saying, Malachi D. Wildman, and thank you so much for the $20. But only you and 5 other people know that.
I know that.
Yeah, but you're one of the 5 other people. What? I'm saying as far as like the general audience, nobody else knows. More people know Gods and Monsters as that movie with Ian McKellen than they do anything related to DC.
I own a copy of it. It's downstairs right by my 82.
I believe you. I believe
by Neil Gaiman.
I believe so, yeah.
I own everything that's ever been produced that's DC, Batman, Superman related. I have too much of that stuff. Sorry. Continue on, Tom. Sorry to interrupt.
The key comics.
And not only that, Malachi, I don't think there's just about nothing that James Gunn is going to be able to do right now that's going to, until something comes out, yeah, he's going to be compared to everything. But thank you for that. Then we got Jess Sparks who says, hail Chad, it's my birthday. Today, can I get a shout out to the panel when live? Well, usually we do something on birthdays.
Shout
What?
it, shout it, shout it out loud.
Oh,
When did I
shit.
get to a Kiss concert?
Oh, okay.
Is this a bad acid flashback?
Sorry. Hey,
What?
let's see.
Oh, I'm
Are you
here
gonna-
to sing happy birthday, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, well, that's always fun. I gotta get my trusty lyrics.
Okay.
There's several pages. See, you hear that? Several. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Insert kid's name here. Happy birthday to you. And many more. There you go. Happy birthday, kid.
Feliz cumpleaños a ti.
Feliz Navi.
I'm not doing it in Spanish. I don't give a shit.
First of all,
Nope.
Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas culture. Thanks for adding so much
You
culture.
need to pay me more and not
Yes,
in pesos. All right. Well, thank you, Bad Tom, for that. And happy birthday, Jet Sparks 373. We appreciate that.
Happy uterus exit day to you. Happy uterus exit day. To
Okay.
you.
This show just went off the rails. Mr. Buttcrack Media has been a member for 3
Yes.
months, saving this show. Thank you. ActionCom is here. Is Dabney Coleman still alive? Rumors are
No.
rife.
No,
Well, I don't know. Did he pass away?
I think so. A long time ago.
No, he was actually just in Yellowstone not too long ago.
Dabney
Yeah.
Coleman?
Don't even get me started on Yellowstone. You and I have not had an opportunity to discuss that show yet.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything here about him passing away.
I can't believe he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Wow.
As of this moment, anyway. that we know.
91 years old.
Yeah. He played in Yellowstone, he played
Wow.
Well, Gene Hackman is still with us too.
what the hell's his name? Who's on Yellowstone? The main guy, Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner?
Jesus Christ, played his dad in it
Oh wow.
in the scene where he passed away. Yeah,
Wow. 91. He could act with Rita Moreno. She's 90.
so far it's just a rumor. So
Yeah.
ActionCom.
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger was great. Sorry, I was reading the chat.
No, he's great. He's great. 9 to 5, all that stuff. I even liked him in Hot to Trot. It's kind of a guilty.
Oh, he
pleasure.
was. Yeah, let me tell you, Hot to Trot is still one of those great films. Everybody should see that one.
Ha, you move your lips too if you had a carrot shoved up your butt.
Yep.
Mr. Buttcrack Media, speaking of butts, says my thoughts on James Gunn announcement. Well,
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, but how do you know until you see the fruits of his labors? I don't understand these comments.
okay.
Like how?
Oh, we're going to get into it tonight.
Yeah.
today.
Well, we're going to get into
I
it
guess
now,
so.
but I don't see how you can predict the future.
Well, it's the material that they're basing that they're pulling the stories from.
Yeah, but I actually think for the most part it's quite clever, the material they're pulling it from. Not everything. I'm not familiar with everything, but we can talk when we get to it. We'll get to it. I'll tell you my opinion.
Okay, I respect your opinion, Paul.
Well, you will. You up until this point, you have. But wait till I give you my opinion on the James Gunn thing.
And then it will change.
Then it'll completely change.
All right. Ah,
You gonna read this?
Yeah, I'm
Paul?
having some audio issues here. Sorry, guys. Like my
Maverick,
stream
Wait
deck
to
is not
prevent
working.
you from
right.
reading. What?
Maverick,
No,
Maverick,
I was just messing with
Connected
stuff
to
and
your
letting you
frontal
talk.
lobe? What?
I can read this. I can read it.
Go ahead.
Maverick Christian for $5. Anyone see Alec Baldwin's confessions that make it seem like he'll be found guilty? E.g., Nate, the lawyer, covered it. No, I have not. But I would suspect that, he will be found guilty. I'm not sure. That's just my
But he's
opinion.
not going to go to jail.
No. He'll get
He'll
us
be found-
suspended.
He'll be found guilty, and then they'll just let him go.
Criminal.
That's right. As long as you keep doing Trump on SNL, we're going to
That's
let
right,
you
yeah.
go.
That's right. Not a smooth criminal in any way, just a criminal.
Just a criminal.
Then we got Hitchhiker 42 says Gunn shoots blanks and kills DC dead.
No. This is what I've been dealing with online.
Novella Princess says, "Are you insulting my soap operas? What else is new? My poor soap opera. As long as you don't tell me what to watch, then I'm all good." Well, we try not to tell you not to watch.
No.
By the way, one of the best soap operas on television for a long time was on FX. It was called Sons of Anarchy.
Did you just say Sopra?
Yeah. Sopra Winfrey.
That's what I was thinking of. Sopra Winfrey.
I've heard of Sons of Anarchy, but I never saw it.
Yeah. It's about a motorcycle gang.
That's right. Who was
You know what the second best long-running soap opera ever was?
Dallas.
No, the WWE.
He's not wrong.
No,
Hero of Light says, "What's the story with DC animated stuff compared to live action? Animation is better. Also, any news on YJ? I don't know what YJ is. What's YJ? Young Justice? Is that what that is?
Young Justice League? Don't know.
No, the animated stuff it's all going to work together now. At least it was supposed to, and then yet they're still doing this Elseworld thing. So we're going to get into this mixed bag of mixed signals from James Gunn and crew. So yeah, we'll get to that real shortly here. We got STR Red Wolf who says, "At least we know for sure Abe Vigoda is dead. This time he is dead. We made sure that sumbitch was dead this time." Wow. History. I remember when he died, everybody's like, he was still alive? Like, yeah. I thought he died like 20 years ago. Well, poor guy. No wonder he hasn't got any work.
Yeah, Fish was great, man. Yeah, he passed away 2016. So yeah.
I was gonna say, I remember when he died, everybody's like, "What? He's still alive?"
He's still alive? Yeah. I thought he died like right after
he died with the fishes in Godfather, I thought.
Yeah.
History will always remember. Bad Robot Ruins Everything says, "I'm getting strong family as the theme vibes here." I think he's referring to Gunn. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Lissimarian says, "Gunn is using a Tom King story. Makes me question his judgment overall, even though a lot of other stuff sounds good." Well, that's a good setup for that. And Pilgrim Media has been watching Netflix Punisher, heavy show. Oh, there you go. Is it still on Netflix, or did they buy that on Disney Plus as well? I can't remember. Or did they just buy it?
I think when they pulled I think that was part of what, people were frustrated about, the money that they spent or essentially the money that they didn't get from Netflix. Disney took those back. Disney took those shows back. So I don't think Punisher.
Yeah, I was wondering if they just bought the one show or all of them.
But it's
actually
go ahead.
Says, "I noticed that Andre isn't here. Tom is not wearing a dress and he is wearing pants." Yes, I am.
I'll fix that by the end of this show.
Yes, you will. And with that, let's get into this DC announcement, because this took the internet by storm yesterday. And a lot of people have had mixed emotions about this, and I can totally understand, because we got a lot of mixed signals from these announcements. Apparently, this started the night before at a press conference where Peter Safran and James Gunn fielded some questions. So that's where a lot of these other stories are coming from. Because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, like, well, I saw the announcement. He didn't say half of this stuff that I'm seeing out there in the press right now. Well, that's why. So since the announcement, there's been more and more come to light as far as we get a little bit more information on all this. But yet at the same time, it still feels like there's more questions than there is answers. So what are we discussing here? Well, we're discussing James Gunn's new DC announcements. There's a lot of feelings, let's say,
and always
about how people are taking the news. There is a lot of questions as far as what the deal is here, what means what, who's going to be doing what and when, and what exactly, constitutes new DC, old DC. Because there has been this fan-made, deal going around, which I think is pretty good for the most part for now. But although I do feel like there should be a separation right here. I don't know if you guys can see my little mouse thing.
Yes, we're watching
between Superman and Waller, because depending on how you take what was said, those things still seem to be part of the old stuff. And they kept saying the true beginning of the DCU is Superman Legacy, which we know from there we're getting a new Superman, a new Batman, and the new Batman Brave and Bold. Paradise Lost could be setting up a new Wonder Woman. We also got Lantern series announced, Swamp Thing, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Booster Gold, The Authority. So we got a few announcements yesterday. What wasn't talked about was a lot of the Elseworld stuff otherwise, although it was mentioned, including a release date for the Batman Part 2. Teen Titans Go was also discussed along with Joker. And in the press conference, I guess Superman and Lois and a few other things were also addressed. But now, so I don't know who all knows what thus far on the panel. But Paul, you said you had been getting some reactions to your reaction or something to that effect.
So it's really a function of separating what he's doing with the business hat on versus what everyone is commenting as fans. And the fans are not able to separate their emotions from the business. And it's quite funny. Well, again, on the other hand, what Gunn did, he accomplished what Disney and Marvel are not able to accomplish, is that they haven't been able to put a head of the department or studio front and center to be the lightning rod or to be the spokesperson for, their entire universe of products. Kevin Feige is not, he's not doing a pitch like this, which I think in the modern era of the internet and social media and commentary is actually the wrong way to go. So Gunn is doing it the right way. Whether he's going to do it the right way, that's, again, something that we got to wait on. The bottom line is that he was trying to do, in my estimation, two things, is give an idea of the breadth of work that they're going to be doing, but lowering expectations. And because, again, there's that saying, under promise and over deliver. And that's what I think exactly what he was doing in that presentation. So we got a sense of the breadth of what he was doing, which actually on the face of it, independent of what they might be individually, very impressive. And yet still he's pushed it down, and he wants his foot soldiers, as I called it, his guardians of the galaxy, to win the ground war, as opposed to going after the big guns like Superman and Batman. A lot of people commented to me and said that, why isn't he going with Batman and Superman? I mean, those are the big guns. Well, that's actually the worst thing you could possibly do. What you want to do is hit a bunch of singles and doubles, get people's confidence back. Don't forget, he's not just fighting for the confidence of his own property. He's actually fighting for the confidence of the entire superhero genre, which Disney has stuffed in the toilet. That's not his fault. So he's got a much bigger job to do than just resurrecting DC. So this is what, and in the end, proof is in the pudding, and people have got to stop complaining about, how crappy it's going to be, because you can't predict. You have no idea. So yeah, that's my main point, is that he's doing a lot of heavy lifting. He's not only doing DC's heavy lifting, but he's also trying to lift Marvel's crap out of the toilet. That's their fault, not his, but we're all superhero tired out, and that's not his fault either. The one property that we kind of like, or two properties, Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy, those are both his. So let's, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. We can talk about the individual properties later, but that's my overall thought. Silence.
All right, culture.
Yeah, outside of lanterns at this point, everything else was mentioned in a way that would make me very nervous. I think it's hard to screw up the Swamp Thing. I think Swamp Thing will be fine. I really am concerned with the direction of the Batman. A lot of things I'm concerned with are just the comic artists behind the periods of time they're going to be adapting from. Anything post 2000, especially anything post 2010, is suspect at best, if not outright destructive to anything that came before.
You're talking about the 52 era?
Yeah. And I'm looking at maybe lanterns, as being possibly the only interesting thing here for me. I am curious, as we do have another guest joining us, what his opinion might be.
Yes, we're about to find out here. Mr. WDW Pro, how are you doing?
I'm just as good as I can be today. How's everybody?
Super.
We were good until you showed up.
Oh, yeah. Well, adios, everybody. It's been a great show. I had a great time.
I've been dealing with technical issues all morning. Andre's not here.
Wait a minute. As co-manager for today's show in the front office, I'll trade Pro and trade Chato to the Gunn universe. There we go.
Hey.
I'm just hoping that there are rabbit tacos involved today.
Rabbit chicken tacos, buddy.
Rabbit chicken
is the
taco.
year of the rabbit chicken.
Is there a rabbit on one end and a chicken on the other end? Is that how it works, or is it all?
I take it you haven't seen Shang-Chi.
Ooh, no, I need to watch Shang-Chi.
No, you don't. I walked out halfway through.
Don't bother.
Yeah, but the best thing to come out of that was rabbit chickens. And what they are a hybrid animal where we don't know where they begin or end. And they have
the worst kind of chimera ever.
But they have 4 wings and 6 legs. It was like they were made for eating.
Good to see you, WDW.
Good to see you. And Mr. Chato, I have heard that you had a great take. Actually, I watched the video. I don't know why I'm talking that way. You had a great take on sort of what it was that they had to do with that announcement yesterday. I love the part where you were talking about how, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to come out and say, oh, we're sorry, we have to empty out all this bad inventory? Like they can't say that. They can't say, oh, this is the discount bin. They got to talk it up, right? It's got to come out. They got to talk it up.
Yeah, absolutely. He had to do the Steve Jobs, what did I call it? The distortion field.
Right.
Yeah. There's no other way to do it.
Well, and sorry, Pro.
No, go ahead.
All I was going to say is I liked it because you pointed out the worst phone ever made.
Yes.
The thing I took away though is that it seems odd to me what they're keeping versus what they're tossing away. So if I were the one who were making this call as to what gets kept around a little bit longer, I don't think that I would be keeping Ezra Miller as the winter chicken dinner, staying with our chickens and rabbits themes. But I think Cavill would have been the way to go if you were going to keep something. I'm not in favor of keeping anything.
Here's the thing. I got to say right off the bat. There is so much misinformation going out there, misinterpretation or misrepresentation of what was said at that press conference. I want this press conference. I want the full video of this fucking press conference because the media is running with so much shit in headlines right now. They gave a complete non-answer to Ezra Miller. Okay? They asked, what was going on? He's making great progress, and we'll cross that bridge when it comes to that, is basically what they're saying. They never said they're keeping him. You could also interpret it as, we're just not going to tell him until he's out of rehab that he's fucking fired. And it's the same thing with the Jason Momoa question they asked. And they said, Jason has always seen it as a trilogy. And then on the response to that, all that Gunn said was, no actor is going to be playing 2 characters. They didn't say they were even going to make an Aquaman 3, but yet the headlines are running with it. That's what I'm saying, is they're totally misinterpreting everything that everybody's been saying, and everything in this thing you can read in almost anything you want into what's been said so far outside of a few things. It's been one of the most political announcements I've ever heard in my life. Even James has flat out said that he is going to jettison anything he wants that doesn't work at some point too. That's what probably, because I'm sitting here going, what the fuck are you having this Elseworld label for when Zaslav said that he doesn't want Elseworlds? He wants one cohesive DC universe? None of that makes fucking sense to me. So I'm sitting here going, oh, what is the real deal here?
There's so much into this thing. So where do we want to start? Are we going to start with the Snyderverse?
Basically what we got here. Well, Mike, you haven't even given your response yet either. And that's the other thing too, is we only got, these 10 projects that he talked about, and only, maybe 8 of them are ones that aren't ones we already knew about technically. And starting with Superman, we're getting a new Superman. Paradise Lost is probably setting up a new Wonder Woman. Batman, we know we're getting a new Batman in it.
And it's super shitty.
And we're keeping the old Batman for one more ride. Well, the new old
super
Batman.
Shitty.
Which one?
Exactly.
You mean Pattinson or
Patterson?
Affleck?
Yeah,
That's the one that makes no fucking sense to me so goddamn ever. Because I've been hearing for the longest time that thing was kind of, we'll see how the Penguin goes. But notice they didn't even mention the fucking Penguin at all.
Well, so that's why this is so weird. This is why it's like a distorted scrapbook of keeping things that don't belong there. If you're gonna clean house, then let's clean it. And if you're going to halfway do it, then let's at least keep the bright spots and drop the stuff that's destructive to you. I don't know what I mean. My God, this Flashpoint must be like The Godfather in quality, that they will not let it go. So if you guys will humor me, I'll read the exact statement that they put out about Ezra Miller. And then again, I agree that they're wordsmiths, right? And this was probably
this is what everybody's been saying about The Flash. It's the greatest superhero movie ever.
It has to be. Why else would you keep it? Why else would you do this?
Because if they don't, then they got to pay fucking Michael Keaton and a bunch of other people money out, from what I heard.
Who cares? How much does it cost you if you put it out?
That's okay. Here's what I heard was the reasoning behind they have to put this movie out, and it didn't get killed with Batgirl. Is because there's back end deals for like Michael Keaton and a few other actors. There's a bunch of tie-in deals that they can't get out of, that it's set up for a theatrical release.
I heard there's merchandising product deals.
That's the thing, is that the shit they went through with Wonder Woman 84 cost them a fucking fortune. Do not forget that basically because of Wonder Woman 84, Gal Gadot is the highest paid actress ever. Because she basically got $110 million for Wonder Woman 84. Because they had to pay her out.
Let's spend $100 million and digitally take out Ezra Miller. Whatever it takes.
They were about to do that. And I don't know what I can guess is what happened is at this point, they knew they were rebooting with James Gunn. And they're like, why should we spend more money on this? Then we're just going to release it as is.
Well, because
they were going to recast him before that.
If you take out Cavill and you keep Ezra Miller, then that annihilates the enthusiasm from your biggest fans.
I agree.
If you annihilate the enthusiasm from your biggest fans, then it has a trickle-down effect into the normies. Now, here's the full statement they released. They said, Ezra is completely committed to their recovery. We are fully supportive of that journey they are on right now. When the time is right, when they are ready to have that discussion, we will all figure out what's the best path forward. But right now, they are completely focused on their recovery. And in our conversation with them in the last couple of months, it feels like they are making enormous progress. So that's the full statement.
And again, that doesn't say a shitting thing about the Flash, other than we'll see what happens when we get there.
Well, it does say that they have a choice of Ezra Millers to pick from.
How so? What is this spectrum of Ezras?
Well, they said they. So there's going to be one. They said, so they were very clear.
There's a few of them.
There's a few of them, and one could be like totally okay. So I back off, everyone.
Well, here's the thing. And this is the reason I say
it's the multiverse pronoun. I love it.
There you go. It's Ezra's personal multiverse.
Thing is, do you see a Flash 2 in here? No. Do you think Flash has anything to do with these things? No. And before James Gunn came into the picture, before Ezra Miller went into rehab, even before he got charged with the felony, they had two other people in mind that they were ready to recast as the Flash going forward. And then all that went quiet. And then James Gunn got hired, and next thing you know, they're just releasing the movie as is. The only other thing we've heard, and this is again rumors, is that they were taking out any lead-ins to any possible future, right? Because this is supposed to end. I still don't understand why Aquaman is pushed off to the end of the year. That movie must have been so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Because that's what I had heard, was that Amber ain't a problem, the movie's a problem.
No, movie is horrible. It tested badly. My understanding is that The Flash has tested better than anyone expected.
My point is, I don't think anybody is going to survive from the Snyder era.
Considering how bad Ezra Miller is at running in real life, can you imagine how much better the Flash would be if his superhero power was choking people out instead? This would be a phenomenal movie.
As a former Snyder person, the sooner we stop talking about the Snyderverse and everything that was in the Snyderverse, the better that we can move on and maybe get something worth fucking watching. And I was a hardcore Snyder motherfucker for a long time.
As someone who has been in the business, everyone's talking about the Batman version 2, We won't know what discussions he's had with the guy who wrote and directed it. What's his name?
Matt Reeves.
Yeah, Matt Reeves. We don't know that Matt Reeves did not pitch him just a killer script for version 2 that makes up for the bullshit of 1. And it's not like he's not an accomplished writer and director. And that's really what Gunn is short of, is people being able to execute stuff. So if he's got a killer script and he was managed to convince Gunn that, it's going to be good, then quite likely Gunn is going to give him a second chance at it.
Yeah.
You've stunned us into silence. You have stunned us.
Yeah, he brings too much logic to the conversation. I'm really upset now.
Well, here's the
well, I'm always okay. I have this.
Well, we don't know what he's presented in terms of the script, but you're right. But we also know what he presented on screen, which was crap.
Yeah, but he didn't have someone like James Gunn telling him to rewrite these parts.
Well, I don't know how good James Gunn's judgment is, because we also know that James Gunn was bragging about Tom King being on the team.
Yes, but
he's a train wreck too.
And
Tom King is an absolute train wreck.
And quite possibly the weakest link in all of this is James Gunn's own hubris and his idea that he's going to be able to manage all these weak pieces. That on its own could be the biggest issue. What
I see here with him is someone that I think you're right from a business standpoint. He's under promising. He's trying to under promise and maybe over deliver. But you know what else I see? I see someone that as a creator is playing not to lose and not playing to win. Instead of caring what fandoms passionately care about, which by the way, does matter more than business. I hear what you're saying, Paul, that, you got to have that business perspective. But let me tell you this. What matters right now is fandom, because if fans get what we want, we spend money. When we spend money, the fandoms blow up. And all of this stuff is a lot of obscure. As a DC hardcore guy, which I've been for over 3 decades, this is some of the most obscure properties this motherfucker could have launched that I ever could have come up with. If this is the list, and I get it. Ironman wasn't one of the biggest Marvel characters in a whole amazing franchise, but we are way beyond that. We're entering the 3rd decade of this shit. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of Hollywood playing not to lose. I want to see them play to win. And if you're at Warner Brothers and you're at DC and you supposedly have the great Zaslav and you're the most amazing guy ever with all the freedom where you're not, one of the things we talked about Midnight's Edge is that James Gunn went there because he wouldn't have to worry about failing and he wouldn't get axed out after a movie or two. Well, guess what? When you're in that situation, you're being brought in like a Tom Brady. Well, play to win, motherfucker. Play to win. Don't play to not to lose.
Mikey, I disagree a little bit. I see some of what you're saying, but here's my thing, and this is my point I've been trying to get to. That Creature Commandos and Waller are the only 2 holdovers from the previous fucking shit. And we've known about those for a while. Waller has been talked about forever. And Creature Commandos is most likely the secret series that James Gunn was working on before he even became the head of DC Studios. Him and Peter Safran have both, even though they've convoluted that line that we see on screen here, they have both said the DCU starts with Superman Legacy. Now, you notice you got Superman, one of your big guys. Lanterns, both Green Lanterns are in there, two more of your big guys. You got Paradise Lost, which is set on Themyscira, which I'm assuming is probably setting up your new Wonder Woman. You won't see Wonder Woman in that, but I bet you it's setting up a new backstory for Wonder Woman. Batman Brave and the Bold. Well, we already know they're going to get a new Batman for that. So right there is your Trinity plus Green Lantern, and you got Supergirl on top of it. So I'm seeing where there's some good stuff here, but I'm with you on one thing, Mike. The problem is the people he's got behind it, picking the Brave and the Bold as one of the ideas to go with first, which is a horrible idea. We can get into that a little deeper. And the whole Supergirl thing has me. Here's the thing. The Supergirl thing could work with Superman. Tom King is the fucking problem here. Because the way they presented what Superman is supposed to be compared to what Supergirl is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a juxtaposition kind of thing, it looks like. And I think that's part of the reason Superman Legacy is called Superman Legacy and Supergirl is called Woman of Tomorrow, is that in a sequel, those two are going to butt heads. And it's going to be this, kind of Supergirl versus Superman kind of thing. Because she's seeing things in a more, cynical way as opposed to Superman, who sees them in a more hopeful way, right? So they're probably going to go that angle. Booster Gold, we already know that's probably going to be Chris Pratt. That's a winner. Swamp Thing, like everybody's been saying, you can't really fuck Swamp Thing up too bad unless you go the route they did with the TV show and make it too boring. The Authority, that's the one that everybody is pretty much looking at going, they don't really know much about it, but it's right up James Gunn's alley. So like me and most people have been guessing, that's probably the one he's going to direct first. Because he's already been talking to Andy Muschietti and other people again. There's stuff going all over Twitter. Six has been sending me all morning. Mangold has tweeted out a picture of Swamp Thing, and James Gunn retweeted it. So clearly they're in talks with certain directors of taking on certain characters and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of weeks we start hearing about directors getting attached to these stories. Now, the other mistake I think James is making, though, is this. The one thing that made for better or worse, made the Marvel Universe work for so long, for the first 10 years, was that Kevin Feige had a vision, and it was his vision that the directors and writers were playing out like he was a showrunner. James Gunn isn't going at this like a showrunner, it sounds like. He says he's going to give all the power to the directors and the writers. That's what got us here in the first fucking place, James.
Yep. Yeah, but there's different ways to do that.
There is.
And James Gunn is being credited for pulling the threads together in the Marvel's whatever phase 1 and 2 ending in Thanos.
Well, he's got to take some leadership here and say that this is the overall vision. And if shit doesn't jive with what they're doing, he's got to be Kevin Feige for a while.
But you're taking him exactly at his words.
I know, and I'm not saying
he's not Kevin Feige, and he's going to be running things quite a bit differently because Kevin Feige can't write if his life depended on him, whereas James Gunn can. So this is going to be very different. I think he's probably going to overextend himself, and he's going to have his fingers in every single pot. That even independent of his extolling the fact that all these independent creatives are going to be involved. Oh no, he's going to be watchful over everything.
All right, I'll give you another example then. Rian Johnson.
What about him?
Them not having a plan for Star Wars.
Well, that's but that's the problem with J.J. Abrams and
Kathleen Kennedy. Oh yeah,
Kathleen Kennedy.
But that's the same thing. What happened is before it was Snyder's vision, and that was the other problem. Like, and James even said they were just giving out properties to people like it was going out of style. In fact, I think he was even referring to himself with the Suicide Squad. Now. Okay,
so listen, here's what has changed. Is that Gunn is kind of a throwback to the old days of Hollywood, where somewhat with some creative capability was actually at the top of the food chain. The Snyder days literally was at a time when DC had accountants, and this guy came in who could kind of do this Watchmen thing, and they didn't know what the fuck they did. Okay, here, you take it. We don't know. They didn't have anybody who could oversee what Snyder was doing because they're just bean counters. This is completely different. I think Feige is actually more smoke and mirrors than he's given credit for. And then Kennedy.
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Well, now, yeah, but at the time, he like a great example is Ant-Man, right?
Right. Okay.
There was the whole thing with, Edgar Wright was going to make that movie for about 8 fucking years. It got to a point where they basically realized they couldn't make the Ant-Man that Edgar Wright wanted to make and have it still be in the MCU. So Kevin Feige had to make the hard decision of letting Edgar go, right? I mean, it was more of a mutual thing. They decided that this is the way, and they still are friends as far as we know, and they both talk about the situation without any malice or anything like that. It was just one of those things where it took so long for Edgar to get to that project that by the time he got around to it, it wasn't going to fit in with what they were doing. James has to be able to make those kind of hard decisions too.
Right.
And I have more faith in James Gunn than probably anybody on this fucking panel, and I have for a while. And like I just said to Mike, I see what he's done here. But my problem is this mixed signals, mixed bag bullshit. It's like, if you're going to reset this thing, just let us know that you're resetting it. Because that's what he's doing. But he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, because he knew that going out and making this announcement the way he has been, answering the questions the way he has been, is going to, is in his eyes and probably people at Warner Brothers' eyes, piss off the lowest common denominator and make the largest swath of the audience either interested or at least, happy for the most part that something's coming they want to see, right?
But we'll see that when the trailers come out.
But it's feeling very safe, and it's like there's a lot of, I don't know how to put this. Something about it just feels like you're not going all in on it with.
I completely agree with his strategy, and I disagree with Mexican Iron Man in the sense that you really have to be careful that you're not over-promising, because even if you went with one of your big guns, and it's not a function, and let's just talk about Cavill, who is going to cost you 1/4 of the budget of your movie above line, even before you start. That's why he's not there. Is that his mere existence is not going to create a good movie, because his existence did not create 3 good movies.
I think you misunderstand what my complaints are. You're looking at me very one-dimensional, Paul. Yeah, I'm having a 3-dimensional argument. I'm having a 3-dimensional. I'm trying to, don't interrupt me. I'm trying to have a number one. It's the wrong number one. He's picking the wrong properties. He's picking the wrong stories, and he's probably picking the wrong people. And when I say properties, I mean within the DC universe.
Sure. Okay.
Right. And so I get what you're saying, but we're just coming from 2 different perspectives. I respect and I see where you're coming from, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I think you're 100% right. If I were the CFO of the studio and you walked in with James Gunn's plan, I'd say, let's go, stamp it, approve it, and I get to write low dollar checks, and I might get high reward from it. I'm like, awesome, let's go. But on this panel, on this show, on this day, as someone who's been buying comics for goddamn near 3 decades and has been watching Warner Brothers mismanage all of the storylines and characters year after year, decade after decade, with only rarely getting glimpses of greatness, while I've been watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe unfold from obscurity to non-existence to greatness and then fall again. In the meanwhile, I've just watched a bunch of bumbling idiots fuck around with the greatest superheroes of all time. Today, on this day, I take my business hat off and I put my passionate fandom hat on, and I'm like, give me a fucking break. Will I die before I ever see the DC universe brought to the greatness that technology and storytelling should be able to give it the proper due that it deserves in the modern era? Yeah. And at this point, I'm about to say I think I may die before I do see that again. That's where I'm at.
I agree, and I think if there's any character that is the gateway to a bold DC, it's Batman. Superman, I've always contended, is the hardest bugger to write for, because he's got that MacGuffin. Without that goddamn kryptonite,
I'm going to disagree. I've been on many a live stream with Tom, and I've heard Tom and Script come up with, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 4 to 7 different storylines that would have been fucking amazing on a random live stream.
Superman is one of those characters that I do agree with Paul to a point, though, Mike. He's a tougher character to get right as opposed to Batman. But what I see here, and this is where I'm going to go at this with Superman and lanterns and stuff like that, because we know the only one of these projects we have a date for right now is Superman, and that's July 11th, 2025. So we kind of have an idea of when this is supposed to start. Batman might not even come out till 2026, 27 for all we know. No idea. But that one I think is the big mistake here, Paul, because Batman is the big character. Batman is no matter which way you cut it, he's got the most box office. He sells the most toys. He sells the most comics. It's just the way it is. Superman's up there, but he's not quite up there. But
we're agreeing. I said Batman
on that. Yes,
your gateway into
the problem with this is doing the Brave and Bold with Damon Wayne. And is making the same mistake Marvel did by skipping over years and years of Batman lore.
And I can't comment on that. I can't comment.
Again, he could handle it in a way that I'm completely wrong, and I will eat my words if I am, but I think it's the hugest mistake in the world. I can see from a business standpoint where they got to this point. Like, they looked at it like, okay, we just had old grizzle Affleck with the Snyderverse, and we have Pattinson as a young Batman on the other side here. How do we come to a, conclusion that's not the same thing? And they said, okay, we'll do a middle ground with the Batman Brave and the Bold. But the problem is, instead of doing that, and this is my opinion, what they should have done is finally give Robin the Boy Wonder his just due, because we've never seen a true serious take on Robin and the dynamic between him and Batman and the kind of thing that Batman would have to deal with going through. Well, is it right for me to help this kid along and do what he needs to do to get his revenge and justice? But it's a 12-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid. See, that's the thing. Even Chris O'Donnell was basically Nightwing already, right? We've never had the true boy wonder on screen. They should have started with Batman in like year 4 or 5, where he first gets Robin into the mix. That I would have rather seen that. This bringing Damon Wayne, this whole thing skips over so much Batman mythos that it's like, okay, at this point you're like, why didn't we just keep Affleck then? And I can see where people are coming from this stuff. It's like, well, if you're going to do that, then why didn't you just keep Affleck? Why didn't you just keep Henry Cavill? Why didn't you just do that? And I understand from a business standpoint why they aren't.
No, I
for many
don't at
reasons.
all. And let me hop in real quick, and I know Culture wants to make a statement. But the other problem is, from a business standpoint, you're supposed to be selling Superman and Batman pajamas. That's the job, right? Get this back into being the major force in the big box retailers that Marvel is. Problem: if your opening salvo with Batman, your version already has an adult son that he's trying to reconcile and redeem, you've already locked in your actor to being older. So you've already blown your chance to bring in a young, vibrant Bruce Wayne character to drive your franchise forward, because you're going to have to go into the 40-year-olds. If you do that, guess what? What's your lifespan you've got on this thing? Culture, take it away. That's my thought on that one.
I agree with you on that. That's what I was saying. Why not start him a little younger? Sorry, go ahead, Culture.
Right, it's a business faux pas.
I agree, and this is why listening to Pro and Valiant and a few of the other people who analyze that's probably your best move when you're looking for analysis of it. But I look at it and I go, that's 100% right. But if you were going to do that, you introduce in your Batman film, you introduce Dick Grayson or whoever your Robin is. I don't know that I'd use Damian, but for that reason. But very early on in Batman's career, you introduce the earliest version of Robin you can find, and you start the movie with him. You remember the wonderful.
Yeah, you can introduce Batman through Robin, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you introduce Robin, and that is the featured character and kind of Batman. You kind of have him off to the side, observing this kid making tons of mistakes, putting himself in danger. And at one moment, he's going to be killed, and then the Batman rescues him. And then that relationship begins. And
or even better, go with Jason Todd and have it not turn out that way. Have him killed. And then you can already have Nightwing in the picture.
Right.
But yeah, and then the stakes are way high when you bring the Joker into your franchise.
Yes.
Because everybody knows he's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another problem I have with going this far into the future already, is how old and beyond are we past a lot of the famous Batman characters? Is this also a move to appease Matt Reeves? Because this is another thing that bothers me, not to go too far off on a tangent, but it's supposedly in his contract for the Batmans, if Matt Reeves uses a character, it becomes off limits to other DC properties. And this is why I can't understand where Zaslav is allowing this Elseworld shit to keep going through. Because that is going to keep causing issues at the end of the day. And I don't know how true that is, but if that's the case, then what the fuck are they doing? Because I heard that's part of the reason the Joker got cut out of the Batman in the first place. The first one.
I think your point is on point. I think when I think about why, one of the reasons why I'm pissed off, there's 4 or 5 of them, but one of them is because of the skip ahead. That is a brilliant, excellent point, Tal. That is it. And maybe, and like Chato says, maybe he's not aware of some of these storylines, but that is a huge problem for me. It's that skip ahead is just completely asinine, both with Batman and Robin.
There's a modern issue here, and that is that he's taking too much of the stuff from the modern stuff, like Batman, Brave and the Bold, Superman, Woman of Tomorrow. I would hope that his Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I hope his Superman stuff comes from older stuff, but the picture he used in the presentation was not an older picture. Although he had been previously posting a lot of Alex Ross and Richard Donner stuff. I don't know. In this respect, I feel like maybe we should just go through each one of these newly announced projects one by one, but first we should get some super chats here. Let's see what we got. STR Redwell says, that was James Gunn. I thought that was Adam Savage from Mythbusters. He's starting to look like him. He's starting to, yeah. Barbie Dog says, Superman Legacy will kill Clark Kent's Superman in the first movie, guaranteed. I doubt that, but I hope you're wrong. Horseradish Power says, my take on Gunn announcement, meh, I don't care. I have to try and get my story outline for my take on Captain America and Captain Carter done for November. Oh, really? Are you doing a comic or something? Termination 2011 says, heard me from Gunn instead of for the fans.
He said that at the end. He made a big speech for the fans. Has to be story first. And it all has to be for you, the fans.
Coming back to that fan idea, I'm curious. We've heard from Mike his passionate plea about the direction of this interconnected franchise, and I'm just curious if Mike could establish what it is that he wanted to get out of that announcement yesterday, because we've heard what Mike didn't like. But at some point, I'd like for us to come back and hear what was it that you wanted to see?
Well,
what did you want to feel?
I think once we go through the character properties, I can hit that as we go through them, because I think he's going to go through the 10, right? Right, Tom? Aren't you going to go through?
I am. We're going to go through them here.
So
but I also think that this kind of goes along with what Paul's been saying all morning, though. And again, I'm not saying Mike shouldn't tell us what he was expecting, but I think that's another problem is some people had expectations that weren't met in this, maybe. And I'm not so sure that that's fair to thrust upon Gunn, too.
So one thing I wanted to add, and this is, you can attack me for this, but one of my favorite Marvel characters was actually Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler.
I'm not attacking you for that. That's a fantastic callback. Yeah, absolutely.
So here's my thought on that. And I think James Gunn knows how to exploit this similar strategy. Nightcrawler was maybe the worst of the X-Men in print. All he did was go bamf, and then disappear.
That opening sequence, though, in the White House.
But then you had the movie, and not only did they layer on his religion and his mania and his abilities and Alan Cummings' incredible acting skill. It's one of the few superheroes that I felt empathy for, true empathy as a human being, and plus the story and everything. And they've done it a couple times in Marvel, and I count Iron Man, in that group, in that he was a tier 2 character in the Marvel universe. And in many ways, those are the best characters to work with to try to create a superhero properties. They just seem to have more going on. Like I said, Superman, Batman, I mean, we know so much about them, but I'm really curious about Waller and Booster Gold and Swamp Thing. And all of those guys fit into the Alan Cummings Nightcrawler mold. And Peacemaker is another good example. He will get more mileage out of creating a high quality human bunch of people from these secondary, tertiary characters. That's my thought.
I think the Superman legacy and the Batman Brave and Bold, I think those announcements, that's what has sort of poisoned the well, because they underwhelmed with the big things, and then that has caused everybody to sort of jump ship on the second tier stuff. But I agree with you.
Mike is talking about.
I think Paul is completely right. The secondary tertiary strategy is a winning one. I think in terms to building up a universe, my problem and my emotional reaction comes from being at best tertiary with the storylines for some of the most important primary characters.
We have to remember this isn't everything anyway, right? They even said that this is just a taste, basically, of what.
Tom, don't you think instead of delivering such discombobulated messages over 2 days on a press conference we don't even see the whole fucking thing for, I think what they'd rather have done is they should have held on to it, got their message straight, and then come out in another month or two.
I think Gunn's doing it on purpose, and this is kind of what's pissing me off.
Why is that?
Because you know why? Because there's 100 fucking stories about it. Nobody's talking about anything but this. And the more political answers he puts out there, the more we sit here and we speculate on it. We are doing exactly what he wanted us to do.
Steve Jobs. This is the Steve Jobs thing. Comes out on stage, announce a shitty product, but then the rest of the universe talks about it and sub buys it anyway.
So that's what I think is going on here. But yes, let's get a few more super chats and we'll go by these one by one. Is this MN Iron Miner? Or Minnesota Iron Miner, maybe? MN Iron Miner has become a member. Thank you so much. Douglas Nelson's in the house. How you doing, Doug? Says the Authority doesn't belong in the DCU. At best, it should be an Elseworlds film. Well, it sounds like this is a passion project for Gunn, and it's going to be in the DCU whether we want it to or not. So
he sent something along with that super chat that I got to show you real quick. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. And then Dark Winter also says Wildstorm Universe is not DCEU. There we go.
And he sent this. Hold on, one more.
Nice.
Oh, look, so sad.
Yeah, I still wouldn't get my hopes up that Ezra Miller's sticking around. Pilgrim Media says Gunn is thinking about his golden parachute. I don't know about that. No. He's just taking the horse by the reins here.
If the Flash movie brings in $2 billion and Ezra can be sedated for the rest of his life, they're going to use him again.
We'll Bamagrad says, hi to all. Why continue to disrespect and disregard an established fan base that craves stories with strong established characters? In order to chase mythical fan base, you have to build from scratch. Well, that's one way of looking at it. We got Planner Aspect who says, people also seem to disregard that we only know who some of these people are, Cavill, Godot, because of their castings. New actors may do just fine. Well, this is what I was saying about, and I know Pro disagreed with me, but it's like,
what?
I see where they're coming from with this new casting, because Zaslav needs to cut these budgets. Henry Cavill, guess what? If he does a Superman movie, it's going to probably cost $10 million just for him.
30.
If right, not more. Exactly.
My position is that if you cut Cavill, you need to cut Ezra Miller. So
I think
fully
they're all
on board with
cut.
ripping the whole Band-Aid off.
Oh no, Ezra Miller.
I think that's what's going to happen
after this movie.
Right, I'd cut him out already though. I wouldn't even do the movie.
You got to remember,
or I'd digitally replace him. And I know that comes down also to the fact that however they're restructuring their company, they could no longer write off removing the Flash or Flashpoint. So I know that also plays into this.
Well, you can only reasonably write off $1.5 billion or $2 billion or whatever. You can't just keep writing off like all these.
That's the other side of this, Pro, is that they have spent so much money on Shazam or Flash that they got to recuperate something, even if it's nothing.
You know what it's like though? Flashpoint is like the original design for the Sonic the Hedgehog character. That's what Ezra Miller is as Flash. So they just need to go to the studios and say, let's CGI this. It looks like a monstrosity. It is a monstrosity. We're going to put somebody's face over this guy, this Ezra, for the rest of the film and get it out of there.
Yeah. Well, there's a big technical aspect to that. That's the thing. First of all, you can't just deep fake.
It's going to cost them $80 million.
Over.
Sure, you can.
Well, no, it's not even the cost part. It's the other actor has to sign off on it. They can't just do that.
And then at this point, he can look like a Picasso painting. It's better.
I get what you're saying, but it's just that here was what was, like I said, what was going to happen prior to all of a sudden everything just coming to a dead halt when James Gunn became president was that they had a couple other actors in mind, and they were doing a couple tests as far as to see how the movie was testing. The movie was testing pretty good, but I think that a lot of that had to do with Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. But I digress. I never heard these miraculous super tests though that everybody kept talking about. I heard it kept testing okay, not like great though. But the plan was at the time that if they were going to recast him regardless going forward. They already had a couple people in mind, but they were toying around with the idea that why don't we just replace him now? But what they would have to do is physically replace him altogether. And a lot of the media did address that by saying, oh, it'd be cost prohibitive, blah, 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 blah. Technically, you could be right. But I had a few people that I know from Warner Brothers that I talked to, let's say, are closer to the special effects side of things. And they flat out said that the thing that people are not understanding is all this shit is shot on green screen anyway. So to actually replace Ezra Miller would be cheaper than what it cost for them, what they spent on the Justice League Snyder cut.
Well, let's just look at this comparison.
But at one point, that was the plan, and then all of a sudden that stopped. And I think that was because when James Gunn came in, the plan was they're restarting the whole thing from scratch anyway, so why spend any more money on this thing?
How's this for comparison? Justin Roiland, voice of Rick and Morty, co-creator of the series, also owns video game studios, etc. He is accused of a domestic situation. We don't know the severity. We don't know if he's guilty or innocent. There has been no trial. We know nothing. We literally know nothing. It could be everything. Gone. That's right, completely. He is erased. He is canceled. He is banished to the Antarctic, and they're going to recast Rick and Morty voices. Almost certainly, it'll destroy the series. There's no way that it'll work. I mean, I hear people saying, "Oh, the nihilism of the show will sustain it." Bullcrap. So here's the thing. Let's compare that now with Ezra Miller. And let's just say that Ezra Miller has sort of that Alec Baldwin substance to him where nothing will take Ezra Miller down. Alec Baldwin shot a woman, killed the woman, was the executive producer over the entire thing, hired the armorer, and yet you had Hollywood celebrities coming out and throwing support at his feet. It's the same kind of thing, right? There's a system here. And the problem is that when you dismiss of Cavill in a way that the fans don't like, money aside, right? I understand the whole argument about the budget, the whole argument about he's very difficult to work with. I get all that. But what I'm saying is, for normal people out there, they're not going to care. They're going to know that a nut job is on this movie that apparently has to wrap up all the old stuff. They're going to go see that, and it's going to sour them on going to see the new stuff. And so whatever it takes, whatever amount it takes to get away from that, Ezra Miller at least deserves the Justin Roiland treatment, given that we have evidence of one and not the other.
I agree with you, Pro, but here's the thing. Do you think that normies actually even know who Ezra Miller is? They don't.
Well, most of these stories by the time we get there.
Most of these stories have been buried. That's the problem.
They might go on another rampage at any point. So let's keep that in mind.
We'll see.
We're not
that's
done
the
with
thing. I was told, like right now, like if there is any hope to him, and this is only something I heard from one person, and this wasn't from any of my sources. This is from another journalist. Let's say I'm not going to say who because I don't know if they've released the story yet. The story they were told was that Ezra Miller's future relies on two things. One, they can fucking behave and get clean. And two, if the Flash movie makes like $1 billion. So if those two things happen, then maybe he has a future. But even in all their answering of the questions yesterday, Henry Cavill was the only one they gave a pretty straight answer on. And they said Henry Cavill was never going to be Superman. We never planned on hiring him. We never hired him. He was brought on for reshoots, and that was what it was. It was other people in the previous regime and stuff like that around him that made this.
It is so clear that he got hoodwinked by his agent, and he was used to prop up something for everybody's mutual benefit. And he got used like that's why what's her face got fired, because he got used like a piece on a chessboard.
Danny Garcia, yeah.
Danny. So
that would be the Rock's manager as well.
Yeah, The Rock,
ex-wife.
The ex-wife, who was the manager, all these people, they say, hey,
James threw the previous regime under the bus too in that statement.
He did.
Henry Cavill needs to be pissed at anybody. Basically, what we now know is we need to get pissed at those people.
All I can tell you is, if I'm Warner Brothers, I'm putting Ezra Miller on Easter Island until that film comes out.
That's kind of what they're doing, Pro. Here's the thing. He's supposedly in rehab. I don't know if he is or not.
He didn't want to go. He said no.
Yeah, that was what I was told, was that they offered him rehab through Warner Brothers, and he turned that down, but he went in on his own accord, which script at the time said, yeah, that's how they usually do that, because that way you're not under, Warner Brothers' thumb. You can go and come and go as you please and still be in quote unquote rehab, kind of thing. It's very like Hollywood rehab from what I've heard. Again, Paulie, if he wants to come in and speak on it, feel free to, because I know you know these people a bit more. But he's right. Paulie has brought up that Ezra, they're never going to publicly say anything about Ezra being gone or anything like that. It's not going to happen. No. They never publicly said anything about Henry Cavill. They never publicly said anything about anybody else. Now, James did say something to Henry's tweet after that Henry put it out. But that's what I'm saying. They have never said anything yet as far as, any solid things about anybody. We're still kind of confused on the whole Aquaman thing because, Jason Momoa put that video out where he's like, I will always be Aquaman. And yet there's this heavy rumor going around about Lobo. So who knows?
He meant he will always continue to use Aqua Velva.
Oh,
That's
You're probably right.
What's Aqua Velva?
Oh, Mike, we gotta show you. Akunin 1876 says the only thing that about Ezra's situation that makes is probably knows every producer in Hollywood intimately. Wink, wink. Well, that's part of the problem, I'm sure. But again, I'm not so sure that the thing is he's been protected for so long. Like, I know what Pro's saying. I agree with you 110%. But this is what I was saying when I was getting into it with Paulie a little bit about it, was like, you know, I had to agree with him. Like, yeah, they're not going to do shit until something he does that sticks to him officially that basically is bigger than his they-them card.
Well, why does that not work for other celebrities?
Unless they're a they-them, it does.
Well, okay, I'll grant you that.
You got to remember, they're protected class right now, and you know of certain mafias, I'm sure.
Well, I'm just, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how many millions of dollars is it worth? How many millions of dollars? Because ultimately it comes down to business decision. And here's your other issue. If this comes out, the Flashpoint movie, and if Ezra Miller does something really, really stupid, which seems to be a forte, then how much damage does that do to your Flash merchandising for years down the road, even if you try to recast? It's just, there's no reason to do this. And then I look at that and I compare it to this Batman movie where we know that Batman has to be older. We know they've got to bring in an older actor. And you just say, look at these missed opportunities. Why would you not come in with youth and vibrance and start some of these stories from an earlier point? Why are you doing, and here's the other issue I've got looking at this lineup. The other issue I have is you have so many different timelines still happening, right? Paradise Lost. That's on a completely separate timeline than this Batman, The Brave and the Bold. And maybe that can work. Maybe that can work. But considering you're coming out of an already complicated and confusing franchise, and considering you're going to continue to use these Elseworlds, which will be confusing to casual people wanting to go to the movies, I just think that there needed to be a better consistency. And I think that getting to that consistency in the best case scenario involved getting rid of Ezra Miller in some way to just say, we're done, we're moving on, we're tired of this, we're going to let the garbage go.
I agree with you, and I thought that's what was going to happen at one point, but again, I think he's so protected that they're afraid to flat out say that they've cut ties with him, and that's where
what's going to happen is
about seeing where he's at when he gets out of rehab is
we're going to from now on we're going to get stuff like
fired till then.
From now on, we're going to get movies like Swamp Thing where they can just CGI it, and there's no real actor behind it. So we'll just have Groot the movie, 5, 6, 7 Groot movies. We'll have Rocket. They can change the voice. We'll have Swamp Thing. That's what, that's the way to go. So you don't have any more Ezra Millers causing you these massive headaches.
Yeah.
That was in jest, by the way. I know that's
I hear where you're coming from. I agree with just about everything you're saying. My thing is I think that the response they gave was they'll cross that bridge when he's done with rehab, meaning they don't want to tell him he's fired in rehab. They're not going to do.
They is working on it, okay?
They is working on themselves.
On it. They is trying not to choke people out anymore, all right?
That's right.
You bigot, Tom. Jeez.
Hey, those charges were dropped.
You learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro. Fight?
I've never liked him as a Flash in the first place.
It's the worst.
Whoa, bro.
Troy Pacelli says, Mike speaks for the fans. The fans are sick and tired of being leaked on. You want our money? Get your stuff together, Warner Brothers, and listen to us. Well, again, I understand where you're coming from. I'm going to reserve a lot of my judgment until I see a Superman Legacy trailer at least, and then I'll kind of go, I don't know if I like where this is going or not, but we'll see. Ben Wade, the nice gunslinger, has been a member for 19 months. It says, hello, my friends. Well, hello, Ben. We got Granite Man here who says, can't Gunn keep it simple? Stop in reinventing the wheel. Well, we're not getting what it seems like any like origin stories outside of maybe Wonder Woman, it sounds like. I don't know.
I will say this: if I see another opening Batman shooting by the theater scene, I'm going to shoot myself.
I'd almost rather see that than Brave and the Bold, though, Mike. Like I said last night. At this point,
that's a
John Apocalypse says this DCU will be better than what Walter was doing. Yeah. Well, we hope so anyway. Marksman of 117B's, one of two here, says, I'm an asshole and I've been enjoying a cope and seething of Snyder fans. Yeah, well, What if Henry fails with Warhammer? They try to counter. They should look at Warhammer Plus in the nuking of the fan films and animation. At least Henry is liked and doesn't hate fandom like GW. What's GW?
Half of George W.
I don't know. Games Workshop, is that who makes is that who it is? Who makes Warhammer or something like that?
My acronyms
I don't know.
are
I'm not a
abandoning you right
Warhammer
now.
guy. I'm ignorant on
Yeah,
Warhammer.
I don't know. Robert Montoya says Chato's right. It's not Warner Brothers money Gunn is playing with. It's shareholders. It's business and develop or duplicate systems that give good results. You need systems that deliver shareholder value. Then Jonas is here. How you doing, Jonas? He was supposed to be on the show today, but he wasn't able to make it. So Superman is the same as Captain America. He has to contrast a cynical world. The question is if he's fighting the woke or based. Watch out, Gunn. Well, we're going to get to that in just a moment here, Jonas. It's funny you mentioned that. Cryam says heroes are also only as good as villains. DC and MCU foolishly reform and kill them off. Bad for business and limits storytelling. Well, DC has a great lineup of villains, so hopefully they stick with that, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they don't give them a bunch of redemption arcs. No bad ideas, just stupid one says, hey y'all, Chato is right. I'm not a fan of some of the things that was announced, especially Brave and the Bold, but I trust his sense of story and his love and respect to these characters. I think he's a writer first. There's more. And thank you so much for the very generous string of super chats here, by the way. I think this is understanding of character. I think his understanding of character could change some of the things that people dislike in the comics and change into something better in the movies. No bad ideas then says Damon might not be an annoying dick anymore. Who knows? So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because of his writing skills. Even people I know who are not comic fans in general enjoy James Gunn's stuff. So he's right. Who knows? He could get rid of Tom King before anything happens. Well, yeah, and I'm willing to give James the benefit of the doubt. I'm just not a big fan of his writer's room. It's a mixed bag. I don't know if you saw that,
What's everyone's thoughts on the boys?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard several things about it.
People have seen it. How successful was that in terms of bringing superheroes down to earth?
I don't know. Anybody here see The Boys?
I have. I've watched them all. Am I the only one?
Well, we may get an answer on how successful it was with that.
I haven't seen it at all. Didn't interest me.
See, to me, it is absolutely brilliant. I mean, for the most part, it was one of the few superhero themed shows that felt quote unquote real. And I'm not like Doom Patrol was one of my favorite superhero shows because it's wonderfully goofy. Umbrella Academy was good in the first year. I
enjoyed Umbrella Academy in the first year and then went off the rails.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But I mean, it can be done, but they're hard to sustain. And then, of course, there's the DC one with Robin in it. What's that called? With all
Titans?
Yeah, holy shit, is that bad? Oh my God.
In the entire DC universe, Robin is one of my least favorite characters, no matter who the hell played in which version.
It's hard to do Robin.
It's just
he's kind of a tough character.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch
Here in the Steadfast says, Mike, what are your opinions on the DC animated movies?
I own them all, and I can go downstairs and literally I have box upon box upon box. I own them all. Justice League, Superman series, all the Batmans. I own them all. I have an entire drawer dedicated to that.
So why did they succeed so well with the Batmans in the even the Supermans, the Batman Superman team ups
and Justice League?
Yeah. Why did this cartoon? Why don't they just hand this entire slate of superhero movies over to the cartoon team to do as live action?
Who knows if they're going to be done well or not? I mean, I don't know if you caught did you catch the Joker series with Harley Quinn on HBO, the animated one they just released in the last couple of years?
I have not.
Piece of horseshit crap.
Okay, so
I mean, we can argue. Why don't we just hand Scooby Doo over to HBO? See what happens. Let's call it Velma.
No, they're turning They're turning Daredevil into Velma. So that's what they're doing at Marvel.
You would think
Are
that
they
used to be a
blind?
solution. It's not a solution anymore.
Aqua Velma.
Oh,
Well, it
Lord.
wasn't basically the team that developed the Batman animated series. They've all sort of aged out at this point,
Yep.
correct? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we've
know.
got Kevin Conroy's gone. Hamill says he won't do the Joker voice without Kevin Conroy. Was it Bruce Timm? Is that his name? The guy who was the showrunner for
I
Batman
think it was
animated series?
Bruce Timm or Paul Dini, one of the two.
Yeah, Paul. So, but they were part of the. Oh, I can't think of the name of the video game series now. What was the name of the video game series that was so successful also for
Arkham
Batman?
Asylum.
Arkham Asylum. Those. I think all of those individuals have now reached that sort of stage where they're ready to step out of that. But if you could bring them back in their prime, oh yeah, they would be absolutely the very best to put in charge of what's going on right now. The issue is that all these new writers, exactly what you guys are saying, they are so preconditioned and so just invested into sociopolitical issues of the day that it takes the highest priority over the source material and over the narrative. And so then what you get is what you're talking about, with like Harley Quinn. It's not Harley Quinn. It's just stupidity. It's Velma, right? It's not Scooby-Doo. It's just stupidity. It's just nonstop. Like, you could put this through some sort of algorithm, some sort of AI to create parody, and it would look just like this stuff.
Oh, we lost Paul. Okay. Well, hopefully he'll be back. It says he has to bounce out. Check out Paul's channel.
Yeah.
No, what did I do?
That was quick. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Yeah. Anyway, I was about to get to a super chat for Paul from.
I blame it
David
on culture.
Carey.
Culture just would not shut up about all the things that.
No, it's not
culture's fault.
culture.
He
It's-
talks too much. He
one
just talks too much.
The one time we lost Paul is the one time the Mexican was on the screen.
Well, that says a lot.
All right, so who wants to play the part of Paul for this super chat? Who's going to do it?
I
you
don't
want to take
know.
that one?
But David said, Paul, your point about second-rate characters is on point. Personally, I'm most interested in Creature Commandos, Booster Gold, and Swamp Thing. Well, let's get into what these are all about. So let's see here. We have the slate, and we have a bit of a synopsis for each, it looks like. Creature Commandos is the first one that we heard is going to be released by James, and that was, I imagine, his secret project he had teased us with a while back. It's going to be a 7-episode animated series written by Gunn that is already in production. Originally a team of classic monsters assembled to fight Nazis. This is a modern take on the concept. The voice actors have yet to be cast, but the executives are looking to find people who can voice the animated characters and also portray the live-action versions when the anti-heroes show up in movies and series. Anybody want to say anything about Creature Commandos?
I'm excited for Bitchin' Camaro.
Bitchin' Camaro.
Sounds a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this is one that has some promise just because of how obscure it is. They can do a lot with the characters. So of all the things that are coming out, this one has sort of that James Gunn feel to it, the kind of characters he likes to take and put them into juxtaposing scenarios with one another. Am I excited about it though? No. I mean, it's not a movie, right? It's a TV show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want movies. Give me the movies.
Yeah.
Anybody else? No?
Agreed.
We got Waller, which is a spinoff of Gunn's own HBO Max series Peacemaker. Viola Davis will return as the ruthless and morally ambiguous head of the government task force.
Hot garbage.
It is being written by Chris Henry and Jeremy Carver, the creator of Doom Patrol.
Hot garbage.
Waller, colon, the Woman King.
Yeah.
Hot garbage.
Tom, are you excited about that one?
Not really.
You
I
seen
mean, it has the
Peacemaker?
potential. I haven't seen Peacemaker yet. I've seen only part of an episode. Well, and there was a weird statement that Gunn made about this whole thing too. It made it sound like he wasn't going to be doing Peacemaker season 2 because of this, but then again, it could just mean not yet. I don't know. There's a lot around I want to see that press conference in its full glory so I can hear the context of everything, at least as best as possible, because there's certain things I just don't understand with how he worded them. But I mean, it has the possibility of almost being like Suicide Squad the series, but at the same time, I know Waller has some character bits they can play with. I'm just not all that intrigued by the character.
I think this decision was made because many months ago she had this Woman King movie coming out, and they're like, "Oh, let's give her own series," and they're like, "Well, she's already playing Waller. Let's go!" Woohoo! I'm not excited at all.
Well, I can see it as a good launching pad for various.
I can see why. Yeah, and there's if you saw Peacemaker, and everything that this character's been in, I'm going to agree with Script from last night on this one. You could make a show of it. Am I excited about it? Not at all. But I think you can do, and especially if you bring Peacemaker back, I think you can take that series a little deeper.
Yeah. Well, we don't know yet for sure what's going on with that, so we'll have to wait and see. But then the next project, then, of course, is Superman Legacy, and this is where they say the true DCU begins. The movie featuring the Man of Steel that Gunn is writing and may direct, although no commitments on that end have been made yet. While the two previous titles are meant to be aperitifs. I don't know. What does that mean?
Aperitifs. Oh, sorry.
Aperitifs.
Yeah, like appetizers.
Yep.
Aperitif. That's the French version.
In Saffron's
you need to catch up on your Parisian vocabulary.
I guess I do. Mike needs to take me some fancy restaurants.
Or like we would say in Mexican world, that is your salsa and chips.
Superman is the true kickoff for the duo's DCU plans. Saffron said,
somebody can't handle his chips. Salsa a little spicy over there, Mike?
No, that's not me coughing.
Who's coughing? Tom? Just the thought of nachos got
anyway, Saffron says it's not an origin story. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way.
Sounds like flashbacks to me.
He is kindness in a world that thinks kindness is old-fashioned. A release date of July 11th, 2025 has been penciled in. So yeah.
So it's a not origin story.
I'm fine with that. I'm glad he said truth, justice, and the American way. That had me going, okay, now you got me interested.
Intentional, for sure.
Because
I gotta say, when you mentioned that last night, you shut me up real fast because I was mostly on a Batman rant. But yeah, you're right. That the fact that he's even saying that is what we need, and it's what we're starving for as a country and as fans. We need to see truth, justice, and the American way. America.
And hopefully the American way that we used to believe in. Not, let's hope it's not the current version that seems to be popular.
Oh, you mean the corrupt way?
You just would hate to see Superman sharing a summer of super love with everybody. He could do some real damage. The businesses really need to board up with some serious steel.
I think I've seen a comic with Superman holding a sign.
So, Lanterns is Greg Berlanti's long in the works Green Lanterns TV series, that one has been scrapped. Now Gunn and Saffron are the stewards, and in its place will take the new space cops with power rings. Our vision for this is very much in the vein of True Detective, Saffron described. It's terrestrial based. It will feature prominent Lantern heroes Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and is one of the most important shows they have in development. This plays really big role leading into the main story we're telling across film and TV. So,
okay.
Anybody have anything to say about that one?
I think I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. Green Lantern's actually number 2 for me behind Batman in the DC universe. What I would have liked to have seen instead, I'm not a big James Stewart fan. I'm a Hal Jordan fan. But what I would have liked to have seen, if they're going to do a team up that already worked in the DC universe that was well done with some fantastic story runs. And that would have been Green Lantern with Green Arrow. But there are a myriad of reasons why that wouldn't happen. But that's what I would have wanted to see. And
I want to know how many episodes are involved. That's a lot of this is what still remains unknown is how many episodes, how long is it? Is it a little 6-episode kind of thing? Is it a 12 episode? What are we looking at here? Like how deep are we really going to go with it? Is this multi-season? Is it single
Yeah.
season? All that kind of stuff. We don't know.
Well, I'm sure we'll get more information as we get closer, but you got to remember, this stuff is all a couple years out. That's the other thing we got to remember. The Authority, a movie based on a team of superheroes with rather extreme methods of protecting the planet that first originated in the late 90s under an influential imprint known as Wildstorm. Run by artist and now head of DC Publishing Jim Lee, one of the things the DCU is that it's not just a story of heroes and villains, said Gunn. Not every film and TV show is going to be about good guy versus bad guy. Giant things from the sky come and good guy wins. There are white hats, black hats, and gray hats, added Safran. There are kind of like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. So that sounds interesting, although I've been getting a lot of mixed reactions to the announcement of it. So yeah. Any feelings on that one? And again, I think this is definitely the one that James Gunn's going to probably direct. I'd take a guess.
Why do you think that one, Tom?
Because he said it's his passion project. And it's right up his alley as far as the type of characters and story that's being told. It sounds like something right out of the third act of Super.
Is it set in Gotham? Where's that thing set?
I have no idea.
I'm just looking at the font on it, on the design for the logo. I'm just curious if that gives us any indication about a flavor for where they would go with it.
Right.
I think you could have a lot of fun with the corruption in Gotham if you want to do the stuff with not everybody's perfectly good, not everybody's perfectly bad. There's lots of in between. If you want to do all of that and you want to do relativism, I think that Gotham's the perfect place to do it. But it could also be fun if you go into other places in the DC universe and the places that are not always seen in the same light as Gotham, and then present the different shades of those as well.
And I wouldn't look too much into the font.
Kent were terrible people with secret backstories we have yet to discover.
I wouldn't look too much into the font because this was fan made. So, just to be clear,
every single one of these is fan made. Hire that person; they're great artists.
Well, I don't know where they took them from initially. Maybe from a comic. So that's what I would assume for some of these. Yeah.
I was looking at the Batman logo actually earlier, so I'm glad that you say that, because I looked at it and I thought that is the strangest thing ever. It's calling back to the 60s. What are they doing?
Isn't that from the animated series with the same title?
Maybe. Was it itself also a callback to the 60s?
I think that series was, if I remember right.
Okay. That would make a lot of sense.
Because wasn't that the one that Diedrich Bader did the voice for? And it was more of a comedy kind of, well, not comedy, but tongue in cheek, I guess, whatever. I don't know. There's so many Batman shows. Okay. Paul had to leave us. Unfortunately, he's dealing with something in the background. Hopefully everything goes well for him. Check out Call Me Chato. And any of his super chats that we get for him today, we will try to address when he's able to make it.
And guys, if you're not subscribed to Paul's channel, please subscribe. He's almost at $100,000. He's just so close.
Subscribers, not dollars, but $100,000.
I'm sorry, subscribers. Yes, subscribers.
If every
I'll take
subscriber
that.
was worth $1, I'd take that. Heck yeah.
And even though we don't know what's wrong and why he had to drop, if everybody would go and subscribe, we'll give you a reason. Like, we'll make some horrible thing. He's got kidney stones like you wouldn't believe.
Well, he's back.
Kidney stones. Never mind. Kidney stones have been.
We were
exited.
just saying you weren't going to be back.
We were just doing a push to get you to 100,000 subs.
Yeah,
that was very nice of you.
Yeah.
Just have to if I just drain off all of WDWs, then I might make it.
Wow, no kidding. Have you seen how quick, bro?
Just have him on your channel. That'll do it.
I'm just a little guy. I'm just growing.
You just rub him a little bit, and you hope some of it rubs off. But no, hopefully everything's okay, Paul.
No, I had business issues.
Okay, all right. Well, just
one
let
of
us know again.
One of our big clients lost all their email.
Oh no!
So what doesn't look like it was us. It was Network Solutions.
Gotcha.
Bastards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Then we're moving on to Paradise Lost. The duo described this HBO series as a Game of Thrones style drama set on an all-female island that is Wonder Woman's birthplace, Themyscira. Filled with political intrigue and scheming between power players, it takes place before the events of the Wonder Woman films. There you go. So we'll have to see if that's a reestablishment of the character or if it actually does match up with the films. We will have to see. Anybody got anything to say about Themyscira Island show?
You think they're going to have the right physics in that?
A lot of boobs.
Yeah.
Is it CGI or is it real?
It's a live action series, it says here.
Well, physics are hard to fake in the real life, I suppose.
I want proper physics here.
Wow. I'm not excited. I'm going to give this a C-, but who knows? I think the execution could be a B+A. Who knows?
All right. Well, I guess nobody else has anything to say about that.
No. I mean, if he's trying to spread the DEI points around and having an entire show with nothing but women, that buys you an awful lot of dye.
Women, swords, bloods, and boobs. I can say that.
So that's what it stands for. Hair dye. DIE. Now I get it.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, I've always been a proponent of having diverse shows, not every goddamn show being diverse.
It's a good point.
And this fits, well into that.
Yeah. Well, and the next one nobody cares about. The Batman Brave and the Bold. We'll just keep moving. No, sorry. This is the introduction of the DCU Batman, said Gunn, of Bruce Wayne, and it introduces our favorite Robin, Damian Wayne, who is a little son of a bitch. The movie will take inspiration from now classic Batman run written by Grant Morrison that introduced Batman to a son he never knew existed, a murderous tween raised by assassins. It's a very strange father and son story, he said.
So who's the wife?
Yeah.
Who's the woman?
Talia al Ghul.
Oh, yes, because he's got kind of a Russian, Eastern European background. I don't know it well, but... And wasn't he supposed to have been raised over in Europe?
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul raised him or whatever, yeah.
So, Robin, he can do all sorts of things, including getting a pirated copy of software to make the Mercedes-Benz work.
Hey, Papa, I want to take Batmobile for a ride. Do you mind?
Totally. And I'm going to put the dash cam on so I can do car crash videos, send them back to USSR.
What software is this? And I'm thinking I can be using it for Netflix.
Netflix, it would be very popular.
It is very popular. I have already 4 customers.
I can bash cars all I want and not bust the Batmobile. It will be very popular crash series for Russia.
I have so many customers, it's driving me crazy, insane. So check out Netflix. I will come to your house with one of my 4 videotapes.
I just want to say that this was more entertaining than I expect this Batman thing to be.
Oh, danke.
That was German.
I know.
It's I
don't know what thank you is in Russian. I know what bye is. Do svidaniya.
Do svidaniya.
And I don't know is naponyamai.
And he can say Privyet with the best of them, but, beyond that.
Pravda.
But this is such a strange way to intro Batman. And all I can think of is that it had to have come from somebody who said, we can do baby Batman, the little tween, and that will excite the markets, right? We'll get all the toys going out there because you'll have the father and son dynamic. We'll reestablish that the multi-generation interest in the movie and then in the merchandise. But
hold up, I'm not paying support.
Thing.
Nope, I don't care if I didn't know the kid didn't exist. Not paying support.
There you go. And you don't support them after they're 18 anyway. So.
That's right.
God, why would you do this? I think this is the one I had the strongest reaction to when we were talking about it yesterday. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah, this is my big red flag right here.
Why would he pick this? So I'm not familiar with this.
I don't understand it. It's a later story. It's not that old. But yeah, Damian would be like what? 4th, 5th Robin, I think it is, or whatever.
4th, yeah. I think, right?
Yeah. 4th.
Oh wait, no, was there a girl Robin at some point?
Depends. I think that's an Elseworld story.
Yeah,
that's
I was done with comics late 70s.
Oh.
So
So
I
it
don't know
goes
anything after that.
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and then Damien.
Damien,
Right, that's the series of the
Yeah.
Robins.
Yeah, Kelly or whatever. She's Elseworld or whatever.
Yeah.
Carrie Kelly. Here's the thing. To me, it's like I don't like redundant characters to begin with. And again, why do we need to go to this extent? Because then you're gonna have to explain to the audience all the shit leading up to it, right? Like that's what I don't understand.
I know he's older, but so far no one has done The Dark Knight according to the graphic novel.
No, the
steals from it.
closest we got was BBS. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone steals from it, but I would love to see that book in a film.
I thought that's kind of what we were going to get with BBS, and then it went a completely different direction.
Yeah. I don't understand why.
Because I love that in the theater. I was actually getting excited in the scene where, you know, they got the cop scene and you see the flash of lightning and there's Batman and I'm like, holy shit, that's the Frank Miller cover. And then they got the cops and he's like, you're about to see some shit, kid. I'm like, that's right out of the comic. I'm like, yes, they're doing the Dark. And then all of a sudden it just takes a left turn and I'm like, what the fuck did they do?
Like, I don't get it. And of course, the Burton one stole from it also.
Yeah, Burton, he took from Killing Joke and Dark Knight mostly. But
anyways, I would just like to see that book the way it is.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. I would have been happy to see that with Affleck even.
Yeah.
But at this point,
he would have been great.
Well, this isn't like older grizzled Batman. This is like
no, I know that. You
late 30s, early 40s Batman.
Yeah, you don't want to do grizzled Batman yet. So I know nothing about this Batman.
I know very little too. So
like I'm solving crime using, the Batcave and analyzing things in his Bat computer.
Wow. I've always thought that using Scarecrow, we've never had a really good Scarecrow representation in a movie. That would be there could be so much fun with the psycho thriller kind of genre if you did Scarecrow preying on Bruce Wayne in the memory of his parents. It could be really fun.
You never know what's going to happen in the Batman Part 2.
True that.
Your wish.
I'll tell you another one. I wouldn't mind to see a redo on Mr. Freeze. I mean, that was a joke character, and the only time we've seen him in the movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But the way that character was represented in the animated series was phenomenal, and I would love to see a rogue villain that is, has that genuine need to be bad because he's trying to save his wife. That's a really cool backstory that I would like to see. And it reminds me as well that DC could solve one of the problems that Marvel has had, that being that in Marvel, other than a few exceptions, they're really bad at presenting villains you care about.
Right.
So if that would be my suggestion for DC is going forward, give us the villains, give us the bad guys that have a deep and well-represented narrative on the screen that makes us care.
And I think you're right. I think you just hit on it, Pro. I think DC has a better rogues gallery across the board than Marvel. And let me tell you, the most underwhelming thing that's going to be introduced in the Quantum Mania, who cares about this film thing that's coming up? That is, Kang. Who cares? And a lot of people are going to be walking in fresh to that character because they didn't take the time to watch the Disney Plus series. I mean, you're really...
Well, the bigger problem there is going back to what Pro was talking about. Freeze is a great example. That's a tragic villain, not a sympathetic villain per se so much. A tragic villain. That's what they forget. They keep trying to make him sympathetic.
It's like Cobblepot,
you got to make tragic villains. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and again, their backstories are tragic, but...
That's why I love the DeVito version of it even more.
Yeah, right? He did a great job being just that.
Well, not just that, because not is he just, a piece of shit gangster guy. He's a monster, right? Like he's physically deformed, and the whole thing is, I love that whole portrayal of that character. I know some people don't, but that's actually my favorite Penguin.
I think Marvel had better superheroes and DC had better bad guys.
You're probably right, because outside of the Trinity, I mean, yeah, the Lanterns are cool and some of the other stuff's cool, but they don't you're right. Like as far as like interesting backstories and them being more than just 2-dimensional good guys or whatever, Yeah, I agree with you in that sense. But that's where you have to have fun with DC. DC lives in a fantasy world, right? They're from Metropolis, Gotham, not places that exist in the real world. So that's where I feel like you can have a little bit more of the fantasy element in these movies, and I don't have a problem with that. You know, like a Clayface.
Right.
Or,
and they need to be localized.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I'm hating the departure with what they're going to do at Marvel with the Daredevil, because you have, an on the ground Hell's Kitchen crew, and you're fudging that all up, and I'm tired of that. I'm hating it.
Well, yeah, because that's the issue that Marvel has. Marvel turns around and tells you, oh, the villain is bad because of this and this and this and this, and this is why you should feel bad for them. It's like, no, that's the definition of a villain, is somebody who has this and this and this happen to them, but they can't get past that. And they want to take it out on everybody else. That's what makes them a fucking villain. You don't get it, right? Like, yeah. And that's where Superman is one of the few people who understands that in his own way. Batman understands that in his own way. Wonder Woman understands that in her own way. And they all deal with it in their own ways. But they all have that fundamental thing. Like even Superman. Yeah, he has a tragic background too. Lost his entire fucking family. Entire planet for that matter. Yeah. Entire culture, race, whatever you want to put in that spot. But he's gotten past that. He was brought up by good parents. Through those values, he is Superman, right? He uses those values to guide him into being the Man of Steel, right? Could have totally went a different way. He could have been raised by the wrong parents. We've done stories like that before. But that's the thing, is you need to find the right villains. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they stack up in this movies, and I'm glad to hear some of the things that Gunn and Safran are saying, and we're going to get to that properly in just a moment when we finish up these synopsis here. But the next one is the Booster Gold.
Well, the big switcheroo though, before you go, the big switcheroo, watch it, ladies and gentlemen, and I am kidding on this, but wouldn't it be something? Cavill will be the new Batman, raising the angry tween.
That would be interesting. And they did say that they have talked to him about other characters.
Wouldn't that be a switcheroo though, if that's already in negotiations and we just don't know it? It would be something.
I did guess, or I just took a wild guess, that I wouldn't be surprised if Cavill doesn't show up someplace else in the DC universe. So that's we're thinking along the same lines.
They've already teased it, yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying that's an impossibility. I could see that.
Well, or he could play one of the women in Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
You win.
I think it's and yeah. Now that he'd have to use a lot of tape.
I know. I mean, the physics would be right at least.
Yeah. So then, real quick here, because we're gonna be losing Pro. An HBO Max series, Booster Gold, is based on the unique, lesser-known character created in '86. Safran said of the series, it's about a loser from the future who uses basic future technology to come back to the today and pretend to be a superhero. Gunn described it as an imposter syndrome as superhero. Now, people are thinking that this is a shoo-in for Chris Pratt.
Oh, yeah, that's no doubt. I'm pretty sure they were talking about this in the last film, right? When they were talking about Guardians 3. I guarantee you that was like, hey, we're going to wrap. Hey, Chris, could you come over here for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that if Chris Pratt goes over to do this, then does that mean that his character in the MCU is going to be over, or are they going to compete directly between the two, sharing him? And if I'm Marvel, I'm freaked out because, and I'm they already know what's happening in the movie, but Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the last things they've got going that could, and it's got two characters. It's got Rocket, it's got Groot that never age, so they can merchandise those things.
And nonstop. It's those two characters that I think are going to die.
Right.
Well, I think the rest of the characters are going to go off on their...
It's merchandising idiocy if they kill Rocket. It is so bad.
You may be right, because they're kind of over teasing that in the trailer. Now, here's the other thing. I heard we can almost guarantee Drax is going to die. Because pretty much anybody who's loyal to James Gunn and has already said they're not going back to Disney, obviously, Drax. I think that there's going to be a couple leftovers, but majority of this cast is not going to want to return. I think that's the case. And then you have, for Disney, that's probably fine for them because Chris Pratt's paychecks probably getting up there. I'm sure Zoe's getting quite a bit now.
Well, she's going to move on. She moves on to her own series with her own team. You've got Pratt potentially.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah,
potentially being available for future films, but you know your hunches as far as who's gone is there. You're swinging. You're batting 1,000 right now.
I already kind of figured that there was going to be a bunch of goodbyes in this movie, right? I figured we were going to get a bunch of people dying, or they were going to be set like at the end. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go off and do this thing," basically taking them out of the equation, like Culture just said. Setting up a new Guardians of the Galaxy, because the Guardians of the Galaxy has had various rosters over the years. In fact, the one that we know now isn't even the original Guardians of the Galaxy, from my understanding. So
no, and you've got
there you go.
Yeah, and I mean, if one of the baddies in the film is the High Evolutionary, I think or whatever that villain is. I always screw that up.
Well, remember when Sylvester Stallone showed up and stuff like that, they had already rumored that we were going to get a spin-off movie of them, but that was before Gunn got fired originally too.
Right.
So who's to say they won't pick up with that group as the Guardians after this? But it's not going to have James Gunn involved, so I don't think most people will give a shit after that. But that's just me, because I highly doubt James is going to come back to Disney after this.
Yeah, High Evolutionary, yeah.
And we got the other big problem here, Supergirl, World Women of Tomorrow, taking cues from the recent Tom King written miniseries. This movie promises a different take than most of Superman's cousins when Supergirl comes to mind. Why didn't they just fucking say that? We will see the difference between Superman. They got this long convoluted thing there. I just summed it up. Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from a timeline when he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, and who watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then come to Earth. She is more hardcore and not Supergirl we're used to. And see, that's what I'm saying. I see her being set up as a juxtaposed character to Superman. So they could do some good with this, but I'm not so sure. People, the Tom King thing has everybody up in arms.
It's just garbage.
And then with Swamp Thing, we literally get a one-sentence thing. A horror film that promises to close out the first part of the first chapter. That's all it says.
Like I said, I think if I said it before, I think Swamp Thing's one I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Lanterns. Maybe Booster Gold.
Yeah, but we're going to be losing WDW Pro here. Did we have any specific super chats?
Not permanently, though, folks. I'll still be around on this.
We hope so. Anyway.
Marvel.
We hope so anyway. Marksman of 117B says, WW Pro, what is your measure for success with the films? Is it still $1 billion? If that measure has to drop like Shazam, then that changes a lot.
9 inches.
9 inches.
Oh, this is actually, it's a great question. It's also very easy to answer. The way that they'll know if this is successful is if it returns DC to being what's called an evergreen property. So if these are evergreen properties where people are buying stuff related to these characters all the time and not just around a particular release, this is phenomenally successful. Anything less than that, and we're back at square one where it's all project based.
That's a good point. And as far as the actual dollars to box office, like it all depends on the budgets.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If they go into these with lower budgets, then like let's.
I'm predicting that they've got to assume that they will make money at 500 million.
Yeah, we discussed this last night. Basically, that same thing. Like that's the way David Zaslav and Gunn and Safran have to go at this.
Well, they have no choice.
About what, 150 million budget production then?
At least less than. You got to get it down to about, and you can do most of these for that. That's the beauty of it.
You got to make money at 500 million because the Supermans never did better than 600 and change.
And not only that, you're at like a baseline now, right? Like the Snyderverse and all that mess afterwards has destroyed this franchise to the point where the most you can hope to get out of it, and Paul's right, in that $500 million range. You do better than that, great, good. But we have to hit that. And that's the thing. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, that's the problem is now you have an average of any tent pole is over 150 million in budget. That's way too much money.
But I see. Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say it, but I can see a lot of these projects being done for that 100 or under $100 million. Batman is easily done for that if you can do it right.
You can do a lot of these for in that $70 million range.
Booster Gold probably cheaper. Paradise Lost is probably mostly practical effects on locations. That's maybe a little bit more expensive, but not a lot of CGI. Great. Supergirl and Superman and Lanterns are probably going to have some CGI, but not to the extent of the Authority. I think the Authority is the one that'll probably have
the main
most.
thing Gunn is going to do is bring filmable scripts that
Exactly
are much easier to budget and are not going to have rumors of endless reshoots 2 weeks up until opening. So there's two parts to this. Number one, just that second thing I described is nuts and is creatively unsustainable and destabilizing. Like, you got to be able to make a show and get it out. It's one of the lovely things of having done TV, which was my main thing, is that on Tuesday I got to deliver a piece of tape to the people, or and it's got to be done, and it doesn't matter what the quality is, that they've got to show something at 7:30 on Tuesday. I can't just go, we're not done. We're going to reshoot some of this stuff because I wasn't really happy, with the performance. I love the discipline of TV.
Yeah.
And they've just completely lost it in the superhero world. I mean, we've got these rumors of Feige doing these endless, what is it? What do they call it? Not test shoots. What's the what if shoots, or I can't remember.
Alternate shots.
Animatics?
No. They just keep shooting until.
You mean the patchwork methodology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Gunn addresses some of this shit, and we'll get to that. But Pro has to leave us. So
let's say this too. When it comes to Feige, losing Isaac Perlmutter and for the most part losing Jon Favreau, I think they had quite a bit of influence over those early MCU films, and that Feige basically gets credit for now. He's become the household name. Yeah. And we see once their influence is gone with Phase 4, Feige doesn't have it. Maybe he did at one point, but he doesn't have it right now. He does. Well,
we started to see the cracks in the previous one.
Yeah, absolutely. The fissures began to show themselves, but not for Endgame that managed to hold it together and keep the enthusiasm alive. So,
well, I'll never take away from Favreau what he did with Iron Man, but I think you're right on Ike Perlmutter. He's one that never gets enough credit because he was the checks and balance guy. He was the guy that said, no, you're not going to make this for this much. You're going to make it for that much, and that's it.
Right, and creativity needs restraints and it needs parameters because that's what helps you become more creative within the box you're given.
Boom.
And that may be.
He also wouldn't have let Captain Marvel happen.
Right.
But he would have made the mistake of not letting Black Panther happen. See, so there's, a give and take with that. So I don't think he would have. He was against it from the start. And he got, well, for those who don't know, it's in Bob Iger's book, the ousting of Ike Perlmutter, one of the most powerful men behind the scenes of Hollywood and everything in corporate America, got ousted from Marvel, at least from his power, at least how much power he had, by Bob Iger, because Feige and him had a conversation, and Iger came to him, and this is the story that Iger tells. I don't know how much bullshit and truth it is to it. That Iger was going through the Marvel character guide, and he keyed in on Captain Marvel. And he's like, this is what we need for the future of Marvel. So he went and had a meeting with Kevin and brought the character up to him, and he's like, yeah, I like Captain Marvel too, but Ike's not going to let it happen. I've been trying to get a Black Panther movie made for like a decade, and basically I keep saying that women and black characters don't sell figures.
Yeah, they don't sell merchandise, and that's
talk about wiping somebody out with that. Yeah,
so Iger's like, well, we'll take care of that, and next thing you know, Ike has no power anymore.
Well,
that's
I don't
in
know
his
the
book.
veracity of that, but
so that's
I know it's
book.
in there.
Yeah.
I know it's in there, but
I read the book. It's
I believe most of that pretty much. It's just we don't know the ins and outs of how he fucking did it, but that's how it probably happened, I bet.
Well, from what I know, and I can't claim to know this for sure, but I think that prior to Iger's decision to go all in with a Black Panther movie, that the consternation inside Marvel was whether or not to tie it into Wakanda and make Wakanda be a huge part of Marvel.
Well, that was the thing, is at that time, and this was, I think, also in the book, is that Feige wanted him to be in Civil War, but Ike was blocking it.
Right, because it gets crowded. So, but
And Ike
later
didn't
on, the
even,
fight was over
Ike didn't
Wakanda.
want him to make Civil War anyway. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
He wanted it to just be a standard Captain America 3. He did not want to spend the Avenger money on Civil War. Again, there's some bad decisions he made, but then there's other decisions in the long run. You can see where he was probably in the right because he knew what the audience wants, basically.
Well, you know, and that's true for all of us. What I'm saying, though, is that there were constraining influences on Feige in his first years that may have made Marvel far better. Not to say that those voices were perfect in every instance, but that having those walls put up against Feige probably improved the quality of the product versus when he now is sort of this omnipotent figure that you can't be touched and his name's on everything, you know, at the beginning of the scroll. Guess what? We're seeing that when he's the guy at the top and there's nobody else to counter him, doesn't always work out very well. In fact, the track record so far is very poor post Endgame. Very poor.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
So with that, before we break into this article and get back into Super Chats, Pro, want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, I've got this
Not that they've had a hard
thing.
time anyway.
I've got this brand new thing. It's a new fangled dangled YouTube channel. You all can go check it out. It's at WDW_pro. Become a subscriber, and we'll be putting out more news because I'm blown away by all the enthusiasm that has been showered upon the channel. And I am just so thankful and pleased and kind of feel a responsibility to continue to produce great content, if I can call what I've done so far even approximating that, just based on how much people are entrusting me with their timelines and their pages on YouTube. So we'll keep at it if you keep subscribing and help me aim higher.
Indeed. And just giving you shit, of course, like Valiant does all the time. I saw him.
You know, Valiant actually scared quite a few people. It was funny reading some of the comments that started coming my way.
Fuck you.
Oh, and then I told him
I
in
hate you.
Private messages, I said, actually, we should build this up. Like we can do a whole Tim Pool Adam,
like a WWF
what's that guy's name?
thing,
Krigler?
Yeah.
Tim Pool Adam.
Tim Pool Krigler, yeah.
Right, we can do that, and then we'll have
Storm out of the next VR live.
Right, and then we'll do a restoration, thing in 4 weeks, bring it back together. We'll quadruple the
No, that's where you
viewership.
bring me in, and I'm like,
Yes,
guys,
you have Mike moderating.
You're the
like,
therapist.
guys, I've been talking to Valiant behind the scenes, and I'm in communication with Pro via coded text.
Can we all just get along?
And guys, I'm really upset because I love both these guys, and I was with them in the beginning.
Well, listen, and when we come back together for the reunion show, we'll break down in tears at some point. We'll have the emotional moment, right? With the Oprah,
Sing Kumbaya.
Bob Walters will happen. So there you go.
May
Well,
she
thanks for
rest
having
in
me on,
peace.
guys.
But yes, Pro.
It was wonderful.
It's
being
kind of
on.
funny because we meant to bring you on here for that Disney news that you dropped last week with the whole
I hate
FTX
not being
thing,
able to
and
make
then
it all the time, but it's just
and then this happened. So
scheduling thing.
yeah.
So, but yeah. Oh, before I go too, don't forget, and you guys may have brought this up, but one of the cool things about when I do get to come on here, I didn't get to do it today, but the last time I was on, we got to talk about King of the Hill, and we were just discussing. I said, actually, I'm hearing that it's going to be on Hulu, and we talked about it, and then boom, weeks later, what happens? King of the Hill is coming to Hulu, and I'm very hopeful that it'll be the fun pitch that I had heard about before, where Bobby is grown up and moves back into the house next to Hank and Peggy, and it creates all kinds of conflict. I would love to see woke Bobby battling out with Hank and Peggy side by side, and to hear all of Dale's thoughts on wokeism. I would love it.
Yeah, it seems like it's coming together nicely now. So
Yep.
glad to hear it, and glad to have you here, sir. Hopefully, we can have you back to talk about that other news soon too.
Would love to. And everybody on here, thanks for having me. Have fun, and I'll see you soon.
Take care, brother.
Bye, folks.
All right. So let's get into this one. This is a fun one. James Gunn, Peter Safran vow to put screenwriting first to fix the once fucked up DC studios. So there may have been a lot of mixed reactions to things that were announced, but Paul, I think you're going to like this. I know the guys did last night. This gave us a little bit of hope going forward, just because of some of the ways they were responding to some of these questions. So let me get into this here. Now, this took place at a press event, which happened Monday night, where they announced the lineup. And first and foremost, this actually goes perfectly off the conversation we were just having. And as I pointed out before, you know, there's only been one movie that has a release date so far, and that is Superman. And we're going to quickly go through this story here quick, and then we're going to get to Super Chats, and we're going to get out of here. But he says, people have become beholden to release dates, to getting movies made no matter what. Now, this is what I was talking about with the whole reshoots thing, Paul, if you're still there. Gunn said of modern studio habit of scheduling tentpole films and sequels for theatrical releases long before creative teams have come together. I'm a writer at my heart, and we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished. Gunn said that even films with front-loaded release dates will be pushed down the calendar if the script is not ready prior to production. I've seen it happen again and again. It's a mess, he said. The primary reason for the deterioration of the quality in films today versus 30, 40 years ago. That's a huge shot at modern films, I think.
That's a huge shot at Marvel.
And Marvel. No, I think Paul had to step away again, sadly, but because the degradation of the writer in Hollywood has been a terrible story, Gunn said. It's gotten much worse since I first moved here 23 years ago. Writers have been completely left out of the loop in favor of actors and directors, and making the writer more prominent and more important in this process is really important to us. They make these movies where they don't have third acts written, he said, and then they start writing them during production. You know, making them up as they're going along. Kevin Feige, like you guys were just saying. And then when you're watching a bunch of people punch each other, there's no flow even to the action. Safran added, it's bad movie fatigue. It's like these guys are listening to us, or at least Safran is anyway. It's weird. And in order to avoid that issue, Gunn and Safran said they're aiming to diversify the kinds of stories they're telling in DC Studios, taking a not too thinly veiled swipe at the plot model for familiar to fans of Jesus Christ. Taking a thinly veiled swipe at the plot model familiar to fans of Marvel Studios. You can't be telling the same good guy, bad guy, and we already got this quote before. Good guy, bad guy, giant thing in the sky, good guy wins story. Again, Gunn said, you need to tell stories that are more morally complex. You need to tell stories that don't just pretend to be different genres, but actually are different genres. That was a clear shot at Marvel, as pointed out here. So yeah, they had some fun with this one. He said it's not the Gunverse. What makes it so fun is to see stories. That's really fun, fucking weird. What are completely different as the individual expression of the writers and director that are making these projects, not about me superimposing something on top of it. This gives me a little pause, and this is what I was talking about earlier, Paul, if you're there. But yeah, hopefully he does have some oversight over the whole thing, though. And then he goes on to say, as everyone here probably knows, the history of DC is pretty messed up. It was fucked up. He goes, no one was minding the mint. They were just giving away IP like they were party favors to any creator that smiled at them. So, yeah. And then he go on to talk about how, just all the other projects, and there's more in that here. But, yeah. So, was there anything anybody had to say about those?
Yeah, comments? I think his comments are fascinating because this right here is the business. So the partnership is him and Gunn together. Together, they're a unit, right? Creativity, business, one functional unit. So yeah. When I look at what he's saying, I'm not, I'm not going to come out as harsh because this is the right business side of things. I mean, whether it's a dig at Marvel or it's a dig at filmmaking in general. Even his comment about this is not the Gunverse. I mean, that's a shot at the Snyderverse people, right, Tom? Wouldn't you say? Yes, maybe.
He does throw. Yeah, he did throw the other regimes under the bus, and then he finishes it all up by saying, "If somebody is doing something that isn't working, we're going to be honest. One of my primary focuses is being honest with everyone. Somebody brings me an idea that doesn't work, I'm honest about it. We're building right now with a foundation for the studio that we want to last." And it just can't last if we haven't built on anything other than rigorous honesty. There you go.
Right. And so this is what we want to hear from the business side of the equation. And so I'm not going to react as harshly and strongly because I reacted harshly and strongly but with James Gunn, because that's the creative side. And I know what I want creatively on the business side. This is the perspective we want. And I think we were talking earlier about the relationship that Ike had with Feige and what happened when what's happened when there is no Ike, promoter with Feige. Well, here we've got that same kind of checks and balances, I think, from finance to creativity. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I love the fact that they're not going to do these things on the fly. I love the fact that they're not going to screw. I would rather delay a movie that's well thought out and well executed than what happens so often, Tom, that we hear. We'll fix it in post, or we'll handle it in post, or we'll handle it in reshoots, and that's why we get mediocrity. Am I still connected to the chat?
Hello? You are here. I was just
okay.
answering somebody in the private chat.
Oh.
But yeah, so I think Paul and Culture had to step away. So unless they had anything to add, if they're there.
Well, when they come back, we can hit some super chats.
Yeah, we're gonna hit some super chats then. Dr. Coffindale says, "Has anyone read Must There Be a Superman by Elliot S. Megan? Seminal story of Superman 147. Apparently, no one at Warner Brothers has. I've heard of it, but I've never read it."
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry about that, Dr. Coffindales. Scary Stories NYC says Zaslav said he wanted to bring back Superman and Batman, etc. Instead, we got Gunn doing DC versions of Nightcrawler. I'm with Tom today and not Chato. Well, I'm in the middle. I'm glass half full on this thing. I want to see where it goes, but I'm not totally sold. Chris Goodman says, "How about Snyder versus Elseworlds?" Not going to happen.
Nope.
I know a lot of people are trying to get behind this. If the Snyderverse was successful enough to sustain anything like this, they would have just stuck with it and brought Zack Snyder back. But it's not going to happen. Nor would they have a competing universe like that anywhere else. And I don't see this Elseworlds thing being a huge deal after Superman anyway. It was kind of what I was getting at. And if they do use it, it's going to be on a very few projects. And it could be in a way like Script Doctor was positing last night, that they'll just slap that label on stuff if it doesn't work out. And that didn't work out. Well, I guess it's just an Elseworld movie. So we'll have to see on that. David Gehrig says, Paul, your point. Is Paul back yet?
No.
Okay. So we'll come back to that one. Mr. Ticklestrong says this echo chamber is arguing too much. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think we're an echo chamber. I don't know. That doesn't work that way. So.
Yeah. Then Fluffy Panda's been a member for 2 months. Thank you so much, Fluffy Panda. And then they say, with a $5 super chat, "We're supposed to trust they will use classic material over woke era DC Comics has been pushing, and Hollywood has been focusing like a good dog. Or following like a good dog." Yeah, I know. That's the problem I'm having right now, Fluffy Panda. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the announcements, there's a lot of contradictory stuff here. I don't know. That's
and I'm not a good dog. I'm a Chihuahua. If my rants tell you anything, if I were a dog, I'd be a ranty Chihuahua.
And Big Daddy MRI gifted 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Ooh. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate that. Valentine's Tube says, "Return to canon on Hollywood agenda. Star Wars lessons here. I'm tired of Supergirl getting the Robin treatment. She has never got a good story." Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't like the idea of it being a Tom King story, but I can see where they're coming from with the angle of it, because that I don't mind. Like, yeah, you have you have a Supergirl who was raised in nothing but turmoil and death and sadness, and even have it maybe set up that she was supposed to go and raise Kal-El, and she didn't get there in time, and shit hit the fan. But then her and him just don't see eye to eye on things. That's an interesting take on the character, but like, I think they're doing a disservice to little girls. And I said this last night. I said, this is a character they have a chance, if they did it right, could really bring a lot of little girls into the DC universe as fans, and I think they're missing that opportunity. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with it. Blah, if I could talk. And then moving on, we have Darius, who sent in a super sticker. And Darius sent us in a hippo character, head popping out of water, surrounded by his hippo squad. Thank you so much, Darius. We appreciate that. And then Pilgrim Media wants to know what Aqua Velva is. Why? No, that's funny, Mike.
So I Googled it, and it is an aftershave that was very popular and had many commercials in the 70s and 80s.
Yes, it was stinky ass shit.
Yeah,
Oh, and
Aqua
Paul's
Velva.
back.
So I screwed up Paul's joke because I didn't know what Aqua Velva was. So
actually, it made it funnier.
I simultaneously screwed up Paul's joke and showed how much I don't know.
And made it funnier.
That's what I just said.
Yeah,
yes,
you're right. I mean, next I'll make a high karate joke.
Oh, that stuff stinks.
High karate was terrible.
Do they still make that either? Probably not.
I think so. Best
we
ads,
need to bring
though,
that back.
We need to bring it back. Well, it's the original Axe body wash. It's the original.
Well, I've been saying we need to buy Canon Pictures, just the name, so we can continue making Canon films just like they used to.
Yeah.
We'll just buy High Karate and it'll be Canon Films brought to you by High Karate.
I love it.
See, it works. It's perfect synergy.
I think that's great. So I had to unproxy the C names on the server.
Oh, you figured it out though?
I think so. Network solutions are not being very helpful.
Oh boy.
And then you may want to, because we got a couple of super chats. We did do already, but they were specific for you.
You can go to hell.
So you may want to explain what you meant here. Zaslav said he wanted to bring back Superman and Batman, etc. Instead, we get Gunn doing DC versions of Nightcrawler. I'm with Tom today, not Chato.
All I'm saying is that Zaslav is a dull instrument when it comes to creative stuff. This is not what he does for a living.
Right.
He aggregates home decor channels into a cable monolith. That's what he does. But as a creative person, many small night crawlers will add up to a much better overall experience over time than fumbling around with your big guns. Not that you don't have to get your big guns right. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just really amazed that, and like I said, Ironman was definitely a second tier character, and that's why he works. And if they can ever get the Fantastic Four right and get the Galacticus arc together, it's one of the best ever in comic book history. But they never can get the Fantastic Four together. And the Fantastic Four were like third level characters up until the Galacticus series, and then that was fantastic.
Yeah, and I looked it up. High Karate, they quit making it in the 80s.
Well, I want some High Karate.
I know, damn it. Dave Gorig also wants to know, Paul, about your second-rate characters is on point.
There you go. I like him.
Personally, I'm most interested in a Creature Commandos, Booster Gold, and Swamp Thing.
There you go. And Swamp Thing is going to be the best version of She-Hulk. I love
Swamp.
And
I mean, I kind of in this boat, like I was pissed about Cavill at first too, but then I just kind of let it go, and I'm like, you know what? I would rather just have somebody I can see as Superman and not have the baggage of seeing Henry Cavill when I look at Superman.
I think that you're making a lot of sense from a business perspective.
And somebody who does make a lot of business sense sometimes is Culture Casino, and he has to leave us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to dip out. I've made some commitments today.
You gonna go find some High Karate?
Yeah, I'm gonna find some High Karate. Apparently, I'm gonna see if I can.
With infinite patience, you may find High Karate.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great slogan for the Sunday night show.
You can find Aqua Velva by just heading into any alleyway.
Consider
you'll be seeing people drinking it.
Consider this.
Oh God, that's gross.
Just whoa. Consider this. They were able to revive Old Spice, so maybe we can revive High Karate. So, but I gotta go. I love y'all. Check out my channel, please. For those of you who aren't subscribed, it's free. Go over there and subscribe, please.
Great channel and great thumbnails too. Man, you work hard on your thumbnails.
It wasn't me. Oh, that's all. That's all Grant. I can't. My thumbnails would look like me going,
Culture's lazy.
No, Culture's the hardest working
I'm
YouTuber
kidding.
that I know.
I'm kidding. But yes, Grant does those and he does a great job. But check out Culture Casino's channel. He does 6 minutes every day and it takes him 10 minutes to do it.
Actually, it's 12 and a half minutes now.
Now it's up to 12 and a half.
Yeah, my 6 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. And I get no complaints from the ladies. I got to go. Peace.
Take care. Love you, brother. I already know one of the high karate scents we're going to have. Chuck Norris sweat. You think that'll sell?
No.
Why not? Everybody wants to smell like Chuck Norris sweat.
No, not me.
No.
We can even get him to promote it.
Mm.
If you want to smell like me, like you've been doing a lot of karate, get high karate Chuck Norris.
David Carradine, high karate.
Oh. Well, it stinks if you leave it in the closet too long, Paul.
Anything.
That was dark. That was dark.
Anything does.
That was a little dark. All right, moving on with super chats.
Any other ones for me? Because I
okay, yeah, I was ready for
we
Paul.
should end this whole thing. Actually,
we're getting there. We got super chats to do. Was there any specific ones for Paul 6 that we haven't got to yet? Let me know in the chat while we grab this one. Oh, she's got it here ready for us. Look at that. 6, please tell Paul Spasibo, pronounced Spasibo, is thank you in Russian.
Spasiba. Spasiba. Okay, so spasibo, yeah, spasiba. Thank you. Spasiba. There you go.
Dave Gehrig or Gorig, I don't know how you say that. I'm apologizing if I'm saying it wrong. It says, Tom and Paul, for your Eastern Euro Robin. I want that now. Fuck.
The main difference between Russian and Hungarian is that the Russians pronounce W's and the THs, whereas Hungarians can't. It's a that is very, very worthwhile. So those are the two key.
Are you talking smack about my peoples? I will come over through this pewter and kick you in the face.
Do svidania. Yes, I love the.
I take it back. Let's have a drink of vodka and be friends.
Vodka.
So I'm not having any nuclear weapons over here, even though I'm pretending I do.
I think
there you go. I think that's all for Paul.
That's it. I can go.
So thank you, Paul, for being here. I appreciate it. And take care of yourself.
Yeah, sorry for having to duck in and out.
No, that's all right. Stuff happens. We were just hoping.
Paul, how close are we to 100,000 subs on your channel?
Yeah, how close are you?
I'm a little bit less than 5,000.
Oh,
but
so
weird stuff is happening in that. Yeah, I'm at like 95,500. But I've like suddenly dropped 100, and I don't know whether it's YouTube doing its magic, but you know, I've been doing
that is a YouTube occurrence. So we got to get you to 105 as fast as we can and make sure it sticks.
Yeah,
you got to do.
That'd be great.
That, yeah. It does that. That'll take away subs if you get an influx of subs for some dumb reason.
Yeah, it's depressing. I don't know what happened because I've been doing some really fun videos, and lately they've been I think some of my best, but that's often what happens, right? You never know. But I'm also happy that you know, the people who are responding to me are pretty funny. I'm very blessed with my subscribers. They're a great bunch of people, and thank you very much for subscribing. Yes. You're a good group.
And do check out all his videos. And we got to do speaking of reshoots, we got to do a reshoot for that earlier bit because I came up with a better line. I'm going to be coming through this computer and booting you in the head.
Love it.
Okay, we'll use that take instead.
There you go. Going to make a crash video.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Can't wait till your next
Thanks,
TV guide video, and hopefully we'll talk
I'm working
together.
on it. I'm working on 82
real soon. 82, good year.
1982. Oh my God! You want to hear a preview? Okay, this is a real.
I can only imagine.
I'll give you a preview of 82. Okay. Apart from Bring It Back Alive, you've got Cheers. Okay, Loser.
Oh, TV history there.
Yeah. The Devlin Connection. That's not too bad. Family Ties.
Never heard of it.
Knight Rider.
Never heard of that one either.
Matt Malone. I don't think anyone cares.
Well, you know what? Don't tell us anymore. Save it for your video because I think I have an intro for your video. A lot of people consider 1982 one of the best years in films. Was it that way on television? Let's find out. There you go.
Newhart. I mean,
man. See, I think you already answered the question. Yes. 82 was just as badass on TV as it was in the theaters. Yeah.
Yep. Great year for movies. Great year for TV. I'm halfway through this. So I will see you, everyone. Mike, Tom, always a pleasure.
Take care of yourself, sir.
Thanks. All later.
Later.
And yes, I'm kidding. Obviously. Yeah, that's a hell of a year for TV. Holy shit. Most of those shows are like 80s incarnate right there. But yes, Mikey, we've got a few super chats to get through, and then we got to get rolling here, don't we?
Yeah, I got literally 10 minutes flat.
Oh no! It might be me in 6. Uh-oh. Michael Gonzalez says Stark and SHIELD B-listers was made the focal point to build the MCU without A-listers. Why can't DC do similar? If so, what would that be? Star Labs? Michael, I see where you're coming from here, but I think this goes against the whole idea of what they should do because they need to rebuild the Trinity. But let's just say if I was in James Gunn's position and I wasn't allowed to use the Trinity and I had to start off with something like this, gosh, what would I do?
Michael, I love you, but the point of the matter is Tom's right with what he said. The point of the matter is that DC's already had a couple of misfired starts, and now my view is they needed to start it right. Marvel never had the start, so they got that luxury.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. All right, next super chat. Love you, Michael.
Yeah. Jonathan King says bringing the Authority before the Justice League is like bringing the Squadron Supreme before the Avengers. It feels like they should be in a phase 2 introduction. Well, they're introducing them so they can be in other projects. We know that part, but who's to say that they aren't being set up as one of the possible villains for a Justice League movie? Because clearly they're building up to something. We know that. They've said that they're going to heavily, the Lanterns is going to heavily build towards, Supergirl is going to build towards it. So there's some outside force they're building towards. And these earlier films are going to be much more grounded, smaller stories. So we'll have to wait and see how it's treated. But I understand where you're coming from, Jonathan. They also said not everything has been announced yet. So there may be a Justice League project in there that'll be like the ending of the phase or the beginning of the next phase. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Paulus Plain says Easter Island has valuable statues. Please think of the statues. Ezra will destroy them. Oh. If you send him to Easter Island. Well, we'll send him to Epstein Island then. Robert Montoya says Bruce Timm went woke. See his Harley Bass movie. Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier, Robert, but did not get a chance to bring that up properly to Paul. Action Com says, since everyone is depressed, I'll help. How about that new Ryan Johnson series, Poker Face? Nice to see Ellen Barkin saying, I hope. Yeah, that looks like a train wreck and a half. Liam John Smith says DC's new direction seems ambitious but misguided. Yeah, it could be. We'll have to wait and see. A Valiant Renegade says, have new Superman flying to America. Fuck yeah. You know what I say to that? Fuck yeah. Here on the Steadfast says, Mike, who are your choices for live action Batman and Joker?
Oh, well, the ones that I won't get. Joaquin Phoenix, or maybe I'll get him in Joker 2, the musical, and Ben Affleck, who's still my favorite Batman.
Interesting. Yeah. I would have loved to seen Affleck get one more shot, and I would love to have it be that Leto Joker was not the Joker the whole time, and we find out there's another Joker, and that Joker is played by Willem Dafoe.
No!
That'd be awesome.
Ooh, good one.
And then we find out that Jason Todd is actually Jared Leto's Joker, but that never happened, kids. Your Muslim uncle Paul and chat need to check out a Physical 100 and on Netflix. I've never heard of this. Physical 100.
It's a show in South Korea. It's a reality show. They put a bunch of men and women up against each other, and
oh wow! So people kill each other in it.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I just did it.
It's like a real life Squid Game.
I never watched Squid Game.
That's my understanding. I didn't either, but that's my understanding of what Squid Games is. It's like basically a game show where chances are you're going to die, but like you got a good shot at winning. Like,
are there any squids involved?
Prize. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe you eat squid when you win.
Gross.
I don't know. That's what they do.
Tom's not gonna watch this show. I just looked at he's not gonna watch this. 100 guys that are in super fit condition working out. What's he gonna do? Sit there with a bunch of ho-hos and Twinkies and watch this shit? No.
You watch it with his hand on his pants.
Oh no.
Do you have a fucking camera in my house, Mike?
No,
do.
I don't think so. I just feel like I know you better. Are you eating those right now?
I should have never gave you the password to my PS5.
I don't know.
You're
what
viewing me, aren't you?
I'm not. That's pretty funny though.
Paulus Plain says, Americans, I love history. Superman, truth, justice in the American way. What does American way mean? World War I and II, Cold War, Korean, Vietnam, Gulf War I and II, War on Terror. Well, right now it's a dirty fucking word. So the fact that Safran even said it, that's what's got us on our butts, Paulus.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, he's got the balls to say what DC, not even a year or two ago, was basically saying is out of date boomer bullshit and America's bad, all that shit.
Well, hopefully it means that they're going to go back to the roots of Superman, old school Superman.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think that's partially why Gunn was posting the Donner Superman stuff, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Bob M is now a member. Awesome. Then we got Pedram, who says, I'm worried about Gunn doing TV series. Peacemaker was very woke. He tried to solve sexism, homophobia, racism, etc., and constantly lectured the lead. Well, you evidently saw a different show than what Andre did, because Andre loved the shit out of this show.
I love the shit out of the show too, and yeah.
I was under the impression it kind of makes fun of those things.
It does. It makes fun of everything and everybody all the time, all at once.
I saw a few episodes. It was really good.
I'm going to have to catch up on it. Then we got Das Wolfen, who's been a member for 13 months. Thank you so much. Jim Watari says, I miss Tom yelling, Jesus Christ, from last night's stream. I don't remember how he yelled it, but yeah. Mikey was the one blowing his top. History will always remember Bad Robot ruining everything. When the rest of Chapter 1 going to be announced, and does Chapter 1 include recast Flash? Also, Justice League film in Chapter 1 likely? Well, I think we kind of just answered this. No, I don't think we're going to get a Flash. I don't think there's much more that they're going to announce, but maybe a couple things. And I think that a Justice League is probably that, or the Justice League will kick off the next phase or whatever, chapter or whatever you want to call it. That's my hunch. What do you guys think? Anything?
Well, Chapter 1 is supposed to take place over 2 years or 4 years.
We don't know.
Because they said 2 movies and 2 TV shows a year.
Did they say that somewhere? You may be right.
I've looked at a heck of a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe you.
Few days.
I didn't see it specifically, though.
Yeah,
but 6 and I in the last 12 to 14 hours have been digging through all these articles.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is they're all from the same press conference. So it's basically trying to piece together what is with what and what comment goes with what and what question where. And yeah, that would be my guess.
Somebody to leak the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Mikey, anything to add? You just don't want Flash.
Nope. Flash sucks. Hate him. I want a Speedy Gonzalez verse before I want fucking Flash.
Mecha J says the main issue I have with this announcement is bringing Tom King on board. From everything I've heard about him, he's the last person you want there. Yeah, the writer's room is full of good to bad. At the top, you got Drew, what's his face, and Goddard or whatever, and then at the bottom, what's his name? Is that it? Something like that. And then at the bottom, you got Tom King. It's like, fuck. The only upside is you got James Gunn in there too. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. There's a few other names that were announced too that were involved in this writer's room. Joel Familia says Gunn is putting on a team. Mangold is helming Swamp Thing and Ben Affleck in talks to direct DC project. Hopefully Batman. Yes, this is some of the stuff that Six and I have been sifting through between this, the Momoa stuff. Mangold is heavily rumored now for Swamp Thing, but you said he has another project coming up right after Indy, doesn't he? Six, you said?
Yeah, he's already committed to another movie. I can't remember the name. So does that mean that Swamp Thing is not going to start for a couple years, maybe?
Well, it does sound like from what we just read that that's supposed to be one of the last films in this chapter, so I don't think it'll be a big deal in that sense. He'll have plenty of time to make that movie and then develop and start Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Because again, we got to remember, we're not even seeing Superman until 2025. So all those other projects are going to be 2025 or later.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep that in mind. So yeah, this is a few years out yet. So I think that's a good possibility that Mangold, and I've already heard some rumors about Muschietti getting something and Muschietti's who directed the Flash film. So JWT6577 says what they're doing the Authority is too big of a red flag. They're chasing the boys' success after the boys fell off. Gunn has the wrong instincts. Well, I hope you're wrong on this, JWT, but I trust your guys' takes on some of this stuff because I'm not real familiar with the Authority. Just from what I've heard, it sounds like it's up Gunn's alley. But going along with what Paul was saying earlier, I'm willing to give Gunn a chance because I've seen what he's done with characters that I don't know at all, like the Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of those members of the Suicide Squad, and I enjoyed what he did. So I'm willing to give him a chance.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is top notch, especially that holiday special. That was phenomenal.
Now that Kevin Bacon is a member of the MCU.
Yeah.
Yes. So with that, Mikey, is there anything to add or subtract from today's show before we get the hell out of here?
See everybody tomorrow night, Thursday night on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
That's right. We do have
and
4K
check out my
for
channel
you.
for my R2D2 toaster.
You are not a YouTuber, I thought.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, but I love my toaster.
It is awesome, isn't it?
I'm coming up with new ideas. I'm thinking about doing a video. Okay, maybe this will make me a YouTuber. I'm literally thinking about making a video series of all the different things. So we'll have like wheat bread episode, white bread episode, bagel episode. Like literally, I'm thinking about doing a series of shorts. You know, you do your shorts with different shorts. I'm going to do my short on R2D2.
And this is where the Midnight's Edge cooking show was born.
And I would love to be able to shower all my friends and family with gifts and everything.
Oh.
But Mikey is somebody that I had to do something for this year specifically, just because of all the shit he's done for me. And I'm looking and looking and looking. It's like, what do you get the guy who has everything? Like Mikey literally has like 50 fucking lightsabers.
Yep.
He has the world's greatest gaming computer.
Yep.
He has everything a kid could want.
Yep.
So I'm looking around and I was lost. I'm like, what the fuck do I get Mikey? And all of a sudden pops up this R2D2 toaster. I'm like, I don't care how much it is. I got to get it for him.
And I fucking love it. It's got multiple settings too. Did you know that it has multiple settings? It has regular toast and then you can do grill side toast. It's fucking awesome.
Well, that's what I was wondering because it said something about a grill on it. That's why I was asking you, especially with the price. I'm like, is it just a toaster or does it have like a little grilling too in it? Because I thought like the fucker flipped up or something maybe, but
it does.
So can you put a slab of meat in it and it'll grill it? What does that mean?
No, it's not like an air fryer type of thing, but yeah, you know what?
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I'm going to start.
You're going to have to because like, I was intrigued by this thing and the ad for the thing didn't really give me much information, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on this. It lights up. That's all that matters. It makes R2D2 sounds. I can see Mike going squee.
Oh, I was squeeing this morning. Me and Bambino. I love it. Thank you, Tom.
He's going to get to know that noise and he's going to go, oh, food time.
Dude, that's what happened this morning because yesterday he got I made a tuna melt and I gave him a turkey and
he is so spoiled.
Yeah, he's so spoiled. So this morning when I put it in, he heard it go down and he go dee-doo-dee, came running out of the back room.
Yeah, that would happen if I got one. Sadie would do the same thing. She'd probably bark at it the first few times. No, I'm glad you enjoy it, Mikey.
I love it.
That was a tough find. I was like, God, what do I get him? I think I spent like 3 hours looking for something. I just don't know what to get you. I was really close to Chaps. Really close to Chaps.
What?
But anyway.
Chaps?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they were for $6 for her viewing.
Oh,
budget.
yes.
Well, she's always in the back room, I figure.
Yeah. I have the best view.
With that, Six, anything besides 4K for you coming up later that we need to promote or anything you're doing?
Nope. Midnight's Edge After Dark tomorrow night. I won't be there, but Tom and Mikey will.
That's right. But
I'll be on Weekly Wrap Up Sunday night.
Yes, that's right. We also have that Sunday, so stay tuned for all that. And we do plan on having a 4K for you tonight. There's too much stuff not to talk about. So even though I think we missed last week, we will be there this week. So I apologize for that. But with that, as Andre says, and he is missed as well, hopefully everything Andre needed to take care of is being taken care of, and we miss him. And hopefully he'll be back on Friday. I think that's the plan, but he's not 100% sure. So with that, as Andre says, it is time for Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala, koalas koalas in the rain.